And what's up, guys? This is a voice check. Let me know if you guys can hear everything a-okay. How's the volume for the music? Is it too loud? Let's get a thumbs up. Give me some feedback.
Trisha jumps right into the voice check. None of the good morning that I give you guys.
Oh, and yes, we have Sean with us today. Let's not forget.
How's it going,
I
guys?
can do it. I can do it, right? Wait.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Good morning. My name is Sean Dexter, and I welcome you back to the Mango Grove for your Thursday live session.
No, there's more passion in the welcome you back.
I
You gotta
can't
really
even-
welcome the
you're
back.
like, it's like a lion
can't fake it.
roar. It's like a roar. Good morning. But no, how's the volume, guys? Let's get some feedback on the volume.
Hey, it's
how's the
Immy.
music?
Imran is here. Speaking of Imran, Trisha, when are you going to be updating the Mango Dynamic videos?
Oh,
The people
yes.
are waiting.
I just wrapped
Trisha's-
up the Mango dashboard videos, so I'm pushing that out. I gotta push that out. And then right after that is gonna be the dynamic. There's a lot.
People seem to really like your impression of me, Trisha.
Yay! See, it's not too bad, eh? Not too shabby. You guys think that Sean goes like super loud with the good mornings? Trust me, it goes louder than that. It's like a lion's roar. It's like, "Rawr." I sound like a cat, but
Hatham. Kusha Hatham is back. We were talking about him just like,
Oh,
this guy always does this. We were talking about him 2 nights ago, and he shows up with a PM.
right. Arthur, you were the topic of discussion not too long ago. Don't worry, all good
We're talking
things.
about, we're talking about the good old BMC days, Rohan, etc. too. No clue.
Man, those are crazy days. Those are some crazy days. Also, for those of you who are in here, do not forget to hit the like button. That helps YouTube push out the video. So let's do this. Let's get those likes up.
Today's going to be a special stream, by the way, guys. By the way.
Yeah, it's going to be it's not going to be the regular stream. We have something special planned. I mean, I think it's in the thumbnail, right? What we're going to be doing today.
Don't be lazy, Kusha. Tell them.
Well, we got an interview with a seedling, a mango seedling. There is an interview today. I mean, interview is too formal a word. It's just going to be a cool sort of conversation that we have. Laid back. I got Sean poured me a glass of sparkling water, and he also poured me like an entire glass of gin. Sean, this seems like just gin, and I just hope I'm not grabbing the wrong glass here mid conversation. That would be funny.
Why? Why not?
Yeah, so the agenda is, well, we're just going to be dissecting monthly and then getting into, well, just a chill conversation.
Yeah, today's going to be
It's going to be
conversation more than anything, guys, because almost everything we discussed over the past few months now is kind of panning out in terms of what we, the plan, right? We said if this happens, we're going to do that. So everything has been laid out, and it's not been any fancy TA really. We've been using the same old boring tools, the Ichimoku on the monthly time frame, as well as the Mango Dynamic. The combination of the two just made our life super easy. So Kusha's gonna go over that for you guys. We're gonna stick only to the monthly time frame, I think.
Yeah. Keep it high level.
Yeah. And the thing is, Shervin's going to be giving you guys a trade idea as well today. So there's going to be more TA during and after the interview at the very least too. So just sit back and stay tuned. It's going to be a different interview today, or a different stream.
So Mock, you're alone. Mock the bot is alone today with modding. Alvaro's in here. Hello, good morning. What's up, man? How's it going? I did that video for you. God, I even forgot. My short-term memory is so bad. It's ridiculous. This was on EGLD, E-Gold, Elrond. Yes. 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes and ticking. Mock's like, don't worry, I got them all. That's right. Mock is down with the hammer. Behave yourselves. But how's everyone doing otherwise? Any crazy things happening? Any good things happening? The markets are, Sean and I were talking about it today anyways. There's so much to talk about. Ridiculous. He showed me Netflix's chart. And yeah, that was something. But then he also showed me PayPal's chart. I'm just like, holy shoot. It's like a shitcoin. Sean, do you have a drink on you?
I do. I'm enjoying my drink. Right, it's a bit relaxing today to not be on camera in front of the lights.
Yeah, I'm in front of the lights today.
You can switch the scene now, Kusha, too, or you could just start.
Let's go. And what's up, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mango Grove. It's me today, not Sean. Sean's in, well, my office. I'm sitting on his very, very big chair that I can't really fit on properly, and I'm always struggling. So if I struggle, that's what I'm struggling for, just to sort of adjust. So like I said, we're gonna wait maybe a minute more, 2 minutes more, and then we'll jump on over to the charts where we'll be dissecting the monthly time frame. But yeah, keep the conversation flowing. Alvaro says, thanks a lot, Krisha. Watched it. Yeah, EGLD. It's weird. A lot of the altcoins, I don't know, for those of you who have been looking at the dashboard, the Mango View specifically, props to Mock for that, the structural sort of indicator there. Keeping as objective, right? If you look at that indicator, it's telling us that many of those trends on the higher time frames are not lost yet. Something to keep your eyes on. Sean's gonna. You
should show that. You should show that to them. The weekly.
Yeah, perhaps we can as soon as like we're on the monthly time frame, get into the charts, and then sort of get on over to the Mango View. Unfortunately, I can only watch for another 15 minutes. Is it Zathan or is it Nathan? If it's Zathan, it's like a really, really cool name. You're probably the first Zathan I've ever met.
Ouch, that seems like a bone to all the Nathans. If it's Zathan, it's a cool name. But for all of you Nathans...
It's not that cool name. Shervin is in here. Shervin, you're the special guest today. Shervin is the special guest today. He is the seedling that's going to be coming on. This is going to be hopefully the first of many. But are you ready to begin, Sean? Are we ready? Are we ready?
I'm
take
ready to
one
go.
final sip. I'll take one final sip of just, which it tastes like just only gin. Wow, I need to wash that down.
I actually PM'd Julian. Was it last night or this morning? I was wondering whether he'd want to come on next.
That'd be really
but
cool.
now I just put him on the spot live, so you can't even say no now.
There you go, Julie. This was planned, right, Sean?
So I want to get everyone on, to be honest. As long as Krisha is doing the interviews, I just get to sit back and enjoy my drink. Why not, right? So Hotham too. Talking to Hotham is going to be super interesting.
Oh yeah,
it's always a blast talking to Hotham.
Lindeka's in here. How's it going?
Get Philippe on. You should just get all the seedlings, Krisha. Let them have a conversation and we sit back.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool for everyone here. I think we've all been through our own journeys, right? In terms of trading. And everyone's had, I mean, while it could be similar, everyone's had like a different sort of path. And it'll be really fun to understand what, what people went through. That way we can learn from all of that. And that's why we even have Shervin on today. So are we ready to get into the charts, Sean?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, and let's get a drum roll, please. Boom! Hey! Bitcoin on the monthly. Alrighty, Sean, are you with me? Do you have your monthly chart opened up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool beans. So we're going to keep this high level today because, as many of you guys know, Bitcoin is range bound. We've been talking about this now for a very, very, very long time. Not a very long time. You know, we're really spoiled. You got to really, give it to that. We're really, really spoiled in that. We're always expecting volatility from Bitcoin. But I want to keep it high level just so people do not get too fixated on the lower time frames. There's something a lot bigger happening in Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin, Sean, even the fundamental space right now, right? The bullish undercurrents for Bitcoin has been pretty freaking crazy. What are your thoughts?
Indeed, but where is the price action to follow it?
Okay, so well, let's do that. So right now, I'm saying that we're close to 1 year. We're reaching that 1 year mark since Bitcoin last hit that 60K, since Bitcoin hit its all-time high. So I'm saying that personally, I think that this is we don't go below 20K at this point. At least these are my thoughts right now. But for right now, Bitcoin on the monthly time frame is range bound, right? The levels that we are looking at right now comes in at the 10 simple moving average. We've been harping on about this for a very long time. The 10 simple moving average has always been that dictating factor and really telling us, hey, where's the trend at on the macro timeframes, right? Do we expect continuation to the downside? Are we in a range of consolidation? And basically helps us with that grand allocation on your macro timeframes. So 10 SMA, we're still holding that as resistance overhead, right? We have yet to close candles over that. The 10 SMA, guys, comes in once again at 45.3K. Right, that is the major level that we are looking at right now on the monthly time frame. As soon as Bitcoin, Sean, starts closing candles over the 10 SMA, we're going up. I'm actually looking at Bitcoin getting up to the 60K region once again. That's what I'm going to be gunning for. And to think that the 10 SMA is so freaking close by. You know, we could start, as soon as I even start seeing weekly strength over the 10 simple moving average, I'm saying that this is, Bitcoin is going to start looking really, really good. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree, because that so at the moment we're leading into the monthly close. We have around 2 weeks to go, actually, like little more than 10 days really. And the way the structure on the lower to mid time frames is shaping up right now, a few people have been pointing out inverted head and shoulders, cup and handle, and all coins. They're all threatening a neckline break leading into this monthly close, right? A lot of altcoins haven't looked the best on their monthly candles, but if we do see them clear those mid time frame necklines, they will be reclaiming those monthly levels. So now we're seeing confluence of these mid time frame levels with the monthly level, right? That doesn't change the fact, though, that I'm looking at $52,000 as that key level for me. If we start closing mid to weekly time frames above the 52K level, that's when I really start getting excited. But yeah, reclaiming the 10 SMA is going to be like, okay, let's get ready now, because let's keep in mind we're already in a long trade. So we have to temper our emotions. Yeah. I'm in a long trade at the very least. We have to temper our emotions as a community going into these resistance levels, knowing that we are already in a trade, and not because these are some of my mistakes when I was beginning my journey, right? When my trade was going well, I'd find myself inevitably buying against resistance. And all I had to do was just wait for the next high low or the next invalidation of my trade. So just be patient, wait for the clear levels that we've already been trading these levels for the past year now. Like you said, Krisha, 50,000 was a key level last year, right?
Exactly,
that was the key level.
Yes.
When we took this is the same trade, guys. It's literally the same trade all over again that we took at $30,000 around June to July last year, all the way up to 60,000. And at the time, even though I was looking for continuation, I said that my best case scenario would be us not continuing and coming back down to put in that ascending triangle, right? Well, here it is now. So we're playing the same thing now. I'll get aggressive with my trade about 52,000.
Yeah, okay. But what if, okay, so and I think that's the more prudent play, right? If you're really looking at being on the safe side of that overarching trend, the macro trend. Maybe I'm being overly bullish, but I mentioned this in the C chat. I'm like, it's hard not to get like super bullish on Bitcoin. That's why I'm looking for the TA, even like the minimum TA that meets the requirements for me to turn bullish on the higher time frames.
I'll give you guys a tip. Whenever you see so much bullish news come in, right? That's around the time you should be waiting for the higher low, the next higher low. That's around the time the higher low is likely to, not necessarily, we could see prices skyrocket, but if you're already in position, there's no reason to FOMO into bullish news. Let the price now validate the bullish news. But if you're seeing bullish news, always err on the side of caution and look for the higher low to bid the higher low. So I'm looking for that right now. Honestly, I think it's a bit more prudent to remain cautious until we clear that monthly 10 SMA, like you mentioned, and then 52,000. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And also, I think there's one major thing to note right now on the higher time frames. Like I said, I want to keep this on the higher time frames. That way, you guys do not get caught on the lower time frame chop. Okay, because the lower time frames can be super choppy if you do not know what you're doing or you do not have the right risk management tools at play. Now, as far as now I drew out this line at 45.3k for you guys on the monthly time frame, right? That's the 10 simple moving average. I'm currently on the weekly, and I want you to look at the playthrough, right? Price action relative to that 45.3k region. That's been an important, significant line of, well, support then now turned into resistance, and right now price is hovering right, we're at resistance pretty much. Right, you do not want to be doing anything, well, stupid on resistance. You do not want to be buying against resistance, and I think it would be the prudent play to, yeah, perhaps wait on the higher low. So I'm not going to be jumping the gun here. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I'm going to be waiting for 45.3k to break before actually getting into a range play to the upside. So yeah, this is pretty much Bitcoin on the monthly time frame, on your higher time frames. Sean, is there anything else that you want to say to them in terms of Bitcoin's price action, any sort of advice before we move on over to the juice of today's stream?
I again just gonna reiterate what I just mentioned. I'm hearing myself. Oh, oops, apologies. I could.
All good? Technical difficulties, guys. Short stop loss at 44.9k. Current BTC price action. On what time frame, IJ? Fun to watch together. Let's see. Is Bitcoin doing something right now? Are we dumping? What are we doing? Oh, look at that rejection. Weekly 10 simple. And notice how ever since we got up to the 60k region, broke the 10 SMA. You know, we've yet to reclaim that. I think the first claim of the 10 SMA on the weekly time frame is going to be clutch. It's going to give us at least a tip of further continuation.
The weekly's fine until we take out the low, or rather we close underneath the low of the previous weekly's low, right? So close the low somewhere around 41,678. So I don't see a candle close underneath there. To be honest, that's also going to line up with us losing the top of the cloud again. So that's the weekly level you guys want to be watching. Like Christian mentioned, don't get sucked into the lower time frames. Bitcoin's going to bounce around over here. But the most bearish aspect of Bitcoin right now is we're against monthly resistance. We smacked up against weekly Kijun last week, rejected off that too, and we're seeing all this bullish news and prices not following, which leads me to believe that a lot of this bullish news was already baked into price. It seemed like a lot of people knew what was coming, even from just the whispers, right? You were hearing people saying things like, oh, there's so much bullish news coming, just be ready for it, blah blah blah, things are going to get crazy. But when you hear that, it means that enough people know about the news that it's likely going to be priced in. Like, people are going to be cautious about getting into positions because they don't want to be left behind. And now the question is, who's left to buy, right? So let's wait for that confirmation. That's all I'm saying. Again, this is coming from a guy who is in a long trade, asking you guys to be cautious over here.
Looking at the comments. Yeah, we won't be covering, just a quick heads up for some of you guys out there wondering if we're going to be covering altcoins. We are not going to be covering altcoins today. I do altcoins almost every day, guys. And
Shervin will likely talk about his experience with altcoins though, so there will be altcoin related knowledge in the stream. So again, if we have time, we'll cover a couple right before we end, but most likely not.
We'll leave that for the weekdays. It's so...
That's fair.
Yeah. Also, Bitcoin, just my quick sort of overview on Bitcoin. If you guys are looking to trade Bitcoin, I'm saying that there are better trades to be had if you're looking specifically to trade the ranges, okay? That's my personal input on Bitcoin. As far as the trend is concerned, you guys know the levels. 45.3K is the 10 SMA on the monthly. If we take that back, I'm saying we see that rally up to 50K. And Sean gets super bullish past 50K. All right, these are the major levels that Mango is going to be eyeing getting into the month of March. So now with that, Sean, are we ready to get into the fun part?
Indeed, let's do it.
Let's do it. Shervin, are you ready, good sir? I think it's gonna be, today I want to make this a bit, you know, I mean, you guys have been listening to me and Sean for years now, right? A lot of you have been with us for years, and it's pretty cool. It's turned into a little family, but, you've gotten to know much of our experiences in the market and how we, you know, actually got to this part of our journey. So, and there's a lot that you can learn from other people's experiences. So I figured, you know, why not get a seedling in here and we can have like a really fun conversation. If you have any questions for Shervin, you know, we can take them. Sean will pull out the important ones in the middle of the conversation and hit us with the questions. And we can also perhaps have a Q&A at the end, maybe.
Hello.
Alrighty, there he is, Shervin.
Hey.
Shervin,
how's it going? Good morning.
Yeah, there we go. Let's hear your good mornings to the Mango crowd out here.
I think we'll just do good morning, everybody. I'll leave the excitement.
So you guys get to put a voice to Shervin's name.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
There we go. I'm glad that so Shervin, you are our first seedling on.
Owen sounds so intellectual, right? He speaks so proper and he's so polite all the time.
Give me 5 to 10 minutes. We'll change the mood.
Oh, look at that. Wolvie says, Shervin, let's go. Snacks.
I'm feeling the love in the chat already.
Yeah.
Shervin's one of everyone's favorite seedlings.
He's Shervin is like super articulate, and I really like the fact that, you know, he's always coming in with that initiative. And here's just a quick sort of story about Shervin. Shervin actually joined the Mango fam back in 2019. That was the very first conversation I had with Shervin. Shervin, do you remember that? Right? We started
back
talking in 2019. Yeah, back when during our Telegram days. So and anyways, this guy seemed like really cool, and I spoke to Sean about him as well, and then. Anyways, you know, I think that's when we were sitting at this juncture of the market right here. Let's go back. This is, you know, that 14K region, and we were in this little mess right here, right? This was the entire thing of 2019. Shervin, I'm showing them the chart right now. So
August.
It was during that time, you know, there was a lot of volatility. I mean, just look at the chart, right? There was quite a bit of volatility. Everything was fun. We were doing a lot of videos, having a lot of fun with that. And anywho, 1 year later. Okay, 1 year later, guys. Now we are on Discord. Shervin comes back 1 year later. He's like, Krusha, I'm ready to join the Mango fam. But it was so sudden, and I'm like, hey, I remember this guy. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I spoke to him on Telegram. And it rang a bell, and I can't tell you, Shervin, I'm so glad that it was, you know, you actually joined the fam finally, because you have been such an amazing addition to the Seedlings. Really. Also, quick,
great to be here.
Indeed. Oh, why don't you tell us about your journey into crypto, how you found crypto, how you found Mango eventually, and how do you, like, you know, eventually decide to become a co-member of the Mango community? Like, walk us through all of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll give it a try. So basically, I got into trading first before crypto. I think I was looking for alternative sources of income, and as you do, you'd look into trading, given that it's one of those ways that's advertised that you can get rich quick and work for yourself and all of the jazz. So I was fully bought into the hype and trying to learn it on YouTube all over the place. This was before August and when I got into crypto actually, and it didn't work. Like the friction that I even had to get into platforms that allowed me to trade was enough to make me want to stop pursuing the art even. Then I think it was a friend of mine who just continuously yapped on about Bitcoin to me, saying that I should buy it and it's going to go up and all over the place. This was around August time actually, when we had the initial leg up from down to 3K all the way to 11K or something that was there. So I started looking at it and I was like, all right, this is coming down. This may be a good time to buy. So I bought a little bit of Bitcoin, and then I got introduced to all these tools that I could immediately buy and sell and trade. And I was like, oh, good. The friction's gone. I can now trade. And what really happened, and I'm being quite critical here, but I just started to shadow trade any YouTuber that I could find. And I have been down the line of quite a lot of I would refer to them as scammers on YouTube purely for views, but I have fallen victim to that, and I kind of watched them all and tried to copy their trades, and as you can all imagine, that did not go well at all. And we were I just lost after us, and it was always the YouTuber's fault. It was never my own until I found
tell us about that. So tell us about
so it's basically like signals, right?
I even subscribed to a signal person who was giving out signals to. He was advertising that you can make $100 a day trading different altcoins. Back then as well, around 2019, you could only long altcoins. There was no liquidity on some of these altcoins that I'm talking about. Some of them don't even exist anymore, in fact. So it was just me literally being afraid and scared every second because somebody else had to tell me what to do. So I was at a point where I was like, I need to learn this, right? This is again back in August, and I somehow stumbled on Sean's videos just through a YouTube recommendation. And comparatively to all the other videos, I saw one of Sean's videos, and then I was like, oh cool, what he said did happen, so he must know what he's talking about. So I watched another video, and quite honestly, back then I was like, why does this guy talk so much? Can you just tell me when to buy? But for some reason, I was like, because if you guys pay attention to Sean's videos, there is always, or Mango videos now. Back then, Krisha, you weren't making videos then, right?
No, I came in like midway.
Exactly. When you look at those back then, Sean doesn't talk about you should buy here, you should buy there. Every single video, he's trying to teach you why. So I think that kind of resonated with me, and I started to say, hang on a second, I really need to learn this. This isn't this easy thing that I'm thinking I'm too smart for my own good and be able to do this. So I watched every single video from that point until I think the big dump that we have, not even the COVID dump, right? Just before COVID. This was around maybe, I want to say December 2019. So I lasted from August to December-ish maybe. And I was taking so many losses because yes, I was watching Sean's videos, but I was also, everything he was saying, I was taking as a trade idea, and I was then going into the charts and trying to figure out and justify it, and then was taking those trades. And what I was doing, this is the part that I now realize was extremely dangerous. What I was doing is I had an amount of capital, let's say 100%, and every trade I was saying, well, how much of this am I going to lose? All right, cool, 20% here. I was literally putting 20% of my entire account on a trade that I then had somehow gotten a tip from through watching these videos. And you can imagine how quickly you're going to be without any money, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So what was the straw that broke the camel's back there? Like, at what point, like what sort of led to you being like, okay, you know what I'm doing is, you know, like I need some structure to all of this, to what it is that I'm doing here. If I want to trade, I need some structure. So what was that last straw, that last event, that last trade that possibly, you know, broke the camel's back there? Like, at what point did you realize? What led to it, rather?
You know what it was? It was when I missed a YouTube video that Sean posted, and the trade gave a good return. And then I felt seriously, because I was at a point where I had to watch the videos. If I hadn't watched the videos, I hadn't worked, because I wouldn't be able to like analyze the charts. It was all whatever I was being given, and I think at the time it just, I had enough. I was like, if I'm doing this, I have to do it properly or not at all. And at the time, this was just before COVID, and I was going through a lot of changes in my own life. I decided, like, this isn't it. I can't do this. I did believe in Bitcoin, as in this 3-month period, I had already understood the basics of it, given that I had a little bit of background in programming as well. I understood it faster than I guess anybody else would. And I was like, oh, there is something to this. No way did I understand that Bitcoin was it in comparison to altcoins. And I'll get into altcoins. Jesus, altcoins have been fun to me. But at that point, I was like, I can't do this, until we had the massive run in January, I think 2021, where I was like, all right, I'm doing this. This Bitcoin thing is also a real deal. Sean and Mango talk about the right way of doing it. I had at that point watched enough to know that there was a right way. I just wasn't doing it because I wanted the quick win and I wanted to get rich quick. So I just started to join. I kind of contacted you around January, or was it February time?
Yeah.
And then joined the seed. And all the while Bitcoin was pumping from 30K to 60K, I was just watching the seed program. But by that time, the seed program kind of started to give me all the things which I realized, hang on a second, you were sat here trying to trade without any tools, without any understanding of the rules of the game, and you were wondering why your emotions are all over the place and why you feel resentment through the YouTubers, why not they don't tell you how to make money. So that was the point where it changed my mind. The point that I realized, sorry, it kind of broke the camel's back, where I realized I'm just trying to hunt for a YouTuber telling me what to do, and I don't mean that as a negative sense, just anybody else telling me what to do with my money. And it was a hard realization. But
I really like what you mentioned there in regards to the rules of the game. When you said, I don't understand the rules of the game. And I don't think people really appreciate that. And it's so difficult for me to ever really express that or explain that to them, right? But now you've been on both sides of the fence now. You've been on the side of the fence where I've been trying to get that message across, and now you do have that message. So if you could just explore that, or rather, talk to us, talk to the audience about that. Like, I want you to like kind of send out a message to them in regards to. So the two things that you touched on: the risk management, right, where you were putting on 20%, and now you talked about the emotional part of the game, along with the rules of the game, right? It all ties into each other. Risk management, the emotional part of the game, and the rules of the game. Because what people don't realize is that the rules of the game involve the emotions on the chart. Because that's what we're really trading here, right? And that's a huge focus. So tell us about that.
I've actually very recently understood this. So even though I did the seed, and I'll tell you what this is in a second. When I did the seed program, as you're watching it for the very first time, I was just constantly getting goosebumps, because it's like you're getting all of this info as to, oh, this was all the stuff that I was missing when I was doing it. But what comes with that was a sense of a little bit of, oh, I am too kind of, I now know everything, so I can go back out there and do it. There's actually a section in the seed program where you ask us to block ourselves in a room, take the 4-hour 21 EMA and just back test it. Quite honestly, Sean, I have to admit here, I didn't do that the first time around, and I realized how important that was, given the fact that in this recent dump, I've had a lot of time to backtest, and in the backtesting initiative that we had in the seed, that kind of gave me a kick where, like, you sit down and you backtest. What have I realized here is the fact that trading is a game of likelihood and probability. And in order for likelihood and probability of 80%, 60%, or whatever to actually pan out, you need to be able to give that sample data, right? If it's 80%, you need to at least have don't know, 10 trades or 20 trades so that you can say, I've got enough sample data to be able to kind of quantify that as a probability of that. Now, that in conjunction with kind of a risk to reward ratio, where the times that you do win, you win more, or you aim to win more. If you don't take the trade. And the times that you lose, you keep a strict rule to make sure that you're losing a certain amount. Merging these two is simply to allow you to be able to plan out that strategy all the way to the end. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to get to trade 3, 4, and 5 so that you can try this trade. So, for example, I'll give you one simple one, right? Might have been the dynamic, or might have been a 21 EMA, or whatever the strategy was. If Sean in a video was saying, well, I'm looking to buy this if we have a close above it, and then I'm like, all right, great, Sean told me this, YOLO buy all of my account, which is kind of what I would have done. And then I realized I didn't have enough capital to be able to even rationally, right? If we're talking rationally, I didn't have enough capital to be able to take the next trade so that this trade idea that has a probability of, I don't know, 80% to succeed. So not only was I literally preventing myself from panning out through that 80% win rate or whatever, but also I was shooting myself emotionally, because as soon as you lose a big chunk of your account, you're sitting there looking. Actually, it's quite hard. I never ever imagined going through those emotions. I didn't think money could actually make you feel that way, but it does. And then you're not only battling probability, you're not only leaving yourself without enough capital to be able to take that next trade, but also you're hindering yourself emotionally a lot, because once you go into that kind of contraction mode and fear, I'm talking about myself at this stage, right? Once I go into that fear mode of, oh my god, look, I have worked this many hours for that much money and I just lost it because, well, I YOLO bought, right? Or bought. And that is probably the most important thing for me. The most important thing for me was to realize that A, I need to take losses, but I need to take managed losses. And B, I need to have done something in order to be extremely confident in the reason why I'm taking those losses. And I think the only way that that would work for me is what I've realized is, Sean says take losses. This, if you follow the dynamic 21 EMA or trend trades, you can have this much probability of success. As much as I believe that, I don't believe that I would believe it enough to be able to sit through all of the losses. So the only way that I realize that I can convince myself rationally that these losses are important and therefore I should keep them limited was for me to backtest and kind of prove to myself that this strategy worked. It was only then, really.
So I have a question for you, Shervin. Now, you know, we've watched you grow, right? We've watched you mature over the past year, even as a trader. So
Can I interrupt just a tad, because I want to emphasize on something Sean mentioned in regards to the importance of backtesting, as well as the exercise that I posted for the Seedlings in the seed program. I implore the Seedlings to complete the program and to complete that exercise, and you guys can tell the video of the exercise too that I'm urging you guys to do it. And I kind of have a feeling that many of you guys are not going to do it because it seems so tedious, but listening to Shervin now, I hope some of you are even more encouraged to do it. And to and he's online right now. I was going to expand on that a tad bit more by reading out a quick excerpt from a conversation I was having with Easy Shorter, one of our newest seedlings, where he just finished the exercise. And one of the things he mentioned to me, he was explaining the thought process that he went through, his emotions, etc. And I'm going to read out what he said to me. He's like, and I'm quoting him over here, guys. He says, but for the most of the exercise, I was like, wow, look how many trades I'm losing, and yet I am still winning. I'm going to say that again, guys. He says, wow, look at how much I'm losing, and yet I am still winning. I want you guys to all just take a step back and let that sink in, because that's what Shervin is trying to highlight for you guys over here too, that you need to be okay losing. If you're trying to win on every single trade, you have already lost at this battle.
Yeah, and there's another thing that
already lost.
Yeah, there's another
When
thing.
you guys go into a basketball match against your friends, right? You're not trying to never concede a basket or goal, whatever you guys call it, right? I don't play basketball, but you guys know that you're going to take some losses, right? It's about winning at the end of the match. And there he is, easy shorter. Yeah, but I'll let you guys continue now. I just wanted to quickly highlight that.
But also the main thing that Shervin he emphasized on was the backtesting, right? And this also drives directly into system building. Like, we always implore you guys to build your own systems. And hey, your system can be different from mine, but you know, as long as you've tested it, and that's the main key thing that he touched on. It was the whole thing of backtesting. Now, how much should you have to backtest, Shervin? You know, like in terms of really gaining that confidence. From your TA, how much of it was just like pure back testing, as you know, as far as building confidence is concerned?
Honestly, it was only like 3-4 hours of actually backtesting to realize that I want to backtest more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because once I started to backtest, there was a point where you know, when Sean says, and this, I struggle with this a lot, you've got to follow your rules, you got to follow your strategy. I was like, well, I don't have rules, I don't have strategy. Can you just tell me what I do? I honestly did feel that way, to be honest, but I also think that a lot of others who are starting can feel this way. But the reason why it's your rules and your strategy is, for example, 2-day dynamic. Now I am buying it. Once we have a retest of the 2-day dynamic, I cannot not buy it, because I have looked in the past, and I mean, for a lack of bigger description, but I've looked in the past and it's worked so well that even as a like there are going to be bounce opportunities, so I want to be able to play that, especially the first retest of it and so on and so forth. But you can get this by literally just looking at the charts and not even having to measure and calculate, and because I looked at that 4-hour 21 EMA thing, I was like, oh my god, I have to do all of this work, which to be honest, I have done as probably forward testing stuff or paper trading a little bit. But if you just sit down and do those exercises through a couple of strategies and start adding those rules to it, it becomes a point where you're like, all right, this is something that I have to take. Now, the dynamic is that way for me right now, and I'm working on other stuff to be able to add to my toolbox, and different ways of being able to kind of get confluence on a trade. But yeah, that was kind of really, for me, it was a short period where I tested, and then I was like, oh, this is important, you got to do this so that you can get the confidence in what you want to then take as a trade. And of course, emotions and personal circumstances come into it as well. At the second layer, you want to look at, all right, if I were to take every 4-hour 21 EMA trade, yep, over a long run it would be, but have a look at how many 4 a.m. trades I need to take. Am I willing to do that for this strategy? And then it started to become a point of where I had the ability to go and, for lack of a better word, shop for different tools that are matching my personality, rather than, oh, I have to take this trade, so I stay up. And I did. Quite honestly, I did stay up till 1 a.m. for closing time for a very, very long time, until I realized I don't necessarily need to do that. Unless it's a close I'm watching.
That is so important. That is so freaking important, guys. And notice what he's done there, right? Like, he had to really like reflect on that. Like, I feel like even that requires a bit of reflection, and you find out so much about yourself just trading. And
you need to go through the emotion, right?
Yes.
You need to go through it yourself, and you went through it himself, which is why I tell people there's no point in me telling you guys what to do.
Yeah.
I can tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm not going to tell you guys what you should do, because I know what I'm doing is because of the pain I have endured or gone through because of not doing it. So, and that's what Sean is saying right now too. He's like, I've been through the pain of not following my rules, so that now the next time I get a retest of the 2-day dynamic, I'm buying it, right?
Yeah.
So,
and more importantly,
so Sean, I have a question for you. Now that you've gone through this phase of your trading journey, do you have any insight or any advice for traders out there who tend to strategy hop or indicator hop, right? They'll find something that works, they try it, and on the first try, it doesn't work, and they're jumping on over to the next indicator. What are your thoughts on that? What insights have you gained from that? And what advice would you offer to the audience watching right now?
So it was the realization and this is going to sound quirky, but it's going to it was the realization that the journey is far more important than that immediate gratification that I think everybody who gets into this, and I may be overgeneralizing, I am part of that category, but I got into trading because I thought I can get rich quick. I know how, and I realize how that sounds now and how incredibly incorrect it is. But I also think that we tend to see everybody's gains all the time, and it does emotionally take a toll on you, and it did on me again. Talking about myself here. So what I did strategy hop and jump from one place to another, but it was because I didn't have conviction in that strategy, and by literally just taking one trade of that strategy, it's like showing up to a job interview, taking a month of your probation, and then going away and saying, why didn't they give me my bonus, and why am I not being paid for the entire year? It is the cost of business. The fact that we have to take losses for a strategy is, in my opinion, the cost of business, now that I've learned this. So what I would say to people is, if you are in this for the short term, it's going to, in my opinion, give you lessons that you are going to be able to use, and there are definitely going to be emotional hardship with it. But if you look at this in the long run and over a long period of time, then there are some, then the strategies and the indicators become which one of them match my personality, which one of them match my risk tolerance, which one of them match my sleeping patterns and whatnot, rather than this one's going to work versus that one. More often than not, Sean, nowadays my charts don't have any indicators on them, because I just look at price action to try to figure out, apart from of course the 2-day dynamic, which makes life significantly easier for anything. But I don't actually want to I don't want to need indicators. I want to be able to figure out a trading pattern that requires me and the chart. And that's something I've realized about myself, about my kind of personality on what I like to do. So strategy hopping, and kind of going from one strategy to another, or one trade plan, or one YouTuber's personality that you follow over another YouTuber's personality, these are only going to um, potentially put you through that cycle of emotion of loss and gain that you haven't earned, in my opinion, and losses that you have taken significantly more than you should have. And that cycle is an emotional outburn, which is what I had when I kind of just said, that's it, I don't need to take a look at this anymore.
Have you
I
discovered
love how
more
you
about
mentioned.
yourself in terms of your trading style and your trading personality, and just even generally, like, even outside of trading, has all of this, just like, uncovering this part of your journey in trading, helped you in other facets?
I'm usually a person that lacks discipline, and I know that's it's the word of the year for mango as well. I've realized that, yeah, there are a lot of stuff in my life that I may be able to get around without having a strict discipline, but trading's definitely not one that you can. So it's been hard for me to learn discipline, but I am trying to, and I am learning through trading. And that's been one thing that's taught me this more than anything else in my life. Like going to the gym, never had discipline with it, never could get it. Like sticking to work for university, never could. It was always last minute, getting the papers out or studying for an exam and stuff like that. But with trading, the more you do have discipline, the actual easier it becomes, because you
Yeah,
really don't have to think and decide. You just have to follow a set of rules that you have
built for
prepared
yourself.
for
Yeah,
previously. Yeah.
yeah. And here's another fun question. Okay, now of course everyone in the chat can take part. So here's it. Okay, you gotta rate. So I'm gonna give you three options, three things, and you gotta rate it from 1 to 3. Okay, rank 1 being the most important, rank 3 being the least important. Ready?
Ooh, I
First,
like this one.
okay, first is TA. Okay, when it comes to trading, of course, this is all pertaining to TA. Number 1 is TA. Okay, technical analysis, basically all of your horizontals and all of that stuff. Number 2, risk management. Number 3, trading psychology. Now rate it from 1 being the most important and 3 being the least important. Let's go. I want to hear everyone's answers.
Oh, that's a difficult one, Krisha. I would say I'll let Sean answer, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. It's a tough one.
I would say risk management. trading psychology, and TA.
Okay,
I have
Sean,
a
you?
reason why I put risk management at the top.
Okay,
I will get
go. I want to hear yours. Let's hear your reason.
Um, I made a lot of mistakes, that I realized. But what I did do in the entire seed program, not for once did I bypass that risk management. And I've gone back and realized, Jesus, this has protected me from being an absolute Dumbo so many times. So
Yeah.
I think if you have that risk management, you can stay in the game long enough to learn the other two, which is why I've rated it
Yep.
kind of that way.
Brilliant. I
Risk
love that
management
answer.
is definitely number one.
He
But
he he. Okay, go on, Sean.
here's my approach on this, and this is how I want at least our community to approach this. TA is risk management. So having TA and risk management in the options over there is kind of a trick question, in my opinion. Far too many people try to use TA for profits, which is fine, but I think TA is risk management. That's a prime. Think about the module in the C program, the risk management module. It uses TA. We use TA as the foundation of the risk management, right? It's a derivation of price, of what's happening in price. So the TA is what gives us our risk management. So without the TA, you don't really have the risk management. So TA is risk management, and that's what it's primarily for. People say that TA is like reading tea leaves or trying to predict the future, blah, blah. It's not. It's not. It's about protecting yourself. It's risk mitigation. That's what technical analysis is, because it gives you a clear invalidation on a trade idea, an investment idea, when you do not have enough information on the actual fundamentals. And let's be honest, if you guys think you have enough information on 25,000 altcoins that you guys all want to trade, you guys are either super, super, super genius androids that I want to get to know. Please be my best friend, or you guys are fooling yourselves. Right. And we want to trade all of these coins. We don't want to get obsessed with one coin, spend all our time on that one coin, and then end up being a coin that did not really have anything fundamentally good about it compared to the other opportunities in the market. But you spend all your time in a market that has fleeting bull markets of around 6 months, maybe 4 months, and now you spend 4 months studying that coin and it's gone. You missed your bull market. That's why we use TA in crypto, because it's risk mitigating in terms of opportunity costs, risk mitigating in terms of like not taking huge losses. And that's what TA is, guys. That it's risk first.
That's also a very good answer, and it's very you can make out that, I mean, an answer like that is going to come through a lot of experience. I asked it more so because I know that people, when they think of technical analysis, they're literally looking at things like indicators and chart patterns and all of that stuff. Very few people look at it through a risk management perspective. I also like the fact how Shervin, think of how he broke down risk management and why he rated risk management first. And the one thing that really stood out to me about why, for him, risk management was number one, was because it allows him to stay in the game long enough to learn the other two, right? And that actually
so
struck
true.
that struck a note with me, because Sean, I had to stay up like late nights just to get that risk management pat down, and that was the most liberating thing for me. What about you, Shervin? I mean, what was that main thing that you took away from the seed program that was just like, it was your aha moment? It was like, oh, it was your game changer. What was there any, what was that one sort of module in the seed program, if you had to pick one?
Oh man, that is hard. Um, as I'm rewatching it recently, I've gotten to the beginning of it where Sean talks about the general and the like the war analogy. I had lost connection with the kind of, and then so the war analogy talks about how you're a general. I don't want to ruin it, but you're a general, and your job is to protect your soldiers, and that then kind of gets translated into the trader and the manager of the trader. That was really what helped me most, because I realized that if I simply have a set of rules that allows me to get into a trade only if the manager guy has written up this one Excel document that has, I guess, a risk management or whatever else on there, that little filter and me sticking to that rule was the most important thing for me, because I really, I would put on a trade before, and I would feel so helpless, so contracted, for lack of a better word, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else. I was just sat and looking at excuses to get out of the trade, to protect my losses, or watching my gains, being like, am I going to be able to keep them? This just wasn't an emotionally stable position to be in. But when I did follow those rules, I would put on a trade, and that would be it. I literally forget about it. Which as in, when I say I forget about it, I genuinely mean, when that thing that's at the back of your mind all the time, regardless of what you're going through your day. It
Yeah.
was the
Yep.
case for me before, but afterwards it was like, oh, cool. Worst case scenario, I'm going to lose $100 because I've got everything set up, and I
Yep.
actually have all of this capital over here that isn't being used, and I can go hunt for other stuff. If that doesn't pan out, cool, because I know it's part of a strategy that the next 5 will have a 3 return or 4 return, which will then pay for the other ones that I've lost. So I just completely bypassed that and kind of had it delegated to the executioner, if you know what I mean. That was for me the most important thing, and it was the general analogy that built it in my head, which allowed me to look at it that way. But there's so many other parts, Krisha. I don't want you to limit me to picking one bit of it. So yeah.
I
That's
can't
the- and
blame you.
that-
I can't blame you.
That's the essence of the Mango way, right? The stress-free way, being able to put on the trade, and then saying, "Hey, the outcome of this trade is not a reflection upon me. I've executed on what my general asked me to execute on. I'm following orders."
Yeah.
So I like that you mentioned that, Shervin, because what a few people realize is that Seed was essentially built on request from the community, right? The community members asked me to build a program for them, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this differently. I'm not going to give them what they think they want, right? I'm going to give them what they need. And people wanted the initial modules on technical analysis first, but that's not what I gave them. I gave them the modules that you're referencing. Those are the first modules in the program, which is a more fun approach to risk management. Now we circle back to risk management towards the end of the program in a more deeper way, but now you see why, right? Like, you had to go through the emotions yourself of seeing why that's so important. Because what good is the TA? Yeah, now you guys are experts in support and resistance. You guys are good at trend analysis. All of that is the middle portion of the program. But would that have been any use for you guys without the front, the two breads, right? That's what I think of it as a sandwich, right? The slice of breads at the beginning of the program and the end of the program, that risk management. Without that, all of that falls flat on its face. So I'm so happy. I have the biggest smile on my face for you mentioning that that's your favorite program, that's your favorite module, or one of your favorite modules.
Yeah, it was more like the application of risk management, and then towards the end you get the theory of risk management, right, with the system and everything. So I'm going through the comments, guys, right? If you guys are going through the comments with me, so I asked everyone this question. So everyone's rated their 1, 2, 3. Thanks. I think this is really, really interesting. But what I'm seeing here for the most part is that some people have ranked psychology as number 1. Some have ranked risk management as number 1. Now, in my opinion, I feel like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Everyone chime in, of course. I feel like that changes depending on which part of your journey you're in right now, right? Which part of your trading journey you're at. Now, because I'm like, okay, Sean's given me this amazing risk management system. I've been using it. It's been helping me sleep at night. I'm like, okay, I got that pat down. Now, every time I take a trade, you can ask Sean this, eh? If I do not have my risk management sheet on me, I do not take the trade. As good as I think it looks, I will not take it. And I've been very steadfast with it.
She'll go all across the freaking condo to her desk just to use her risk management sheet instead of just putting on the trade while the trade is still like.
So that's me, right? I'm like, okay, so the risk management is pat down, but now something that for me, what I would rank number 1. Okay, now, but this is because of the experience that I've gained, also the risk management sheet that I have full faith in, and now I'm at this juncture in my trading journey wherein for me, psychology, I will rank number 1. And then risk management, I'll rank number 2. And then TA, and I'm looking at TA, Sean, as a definition of, okay, just, normal technical analysis and really assessing, a trend of a certain asset and basically in that sort of context. And that's why I'm saying that it really depends on which part of your journey you're in. So in terms of really ranking psychology and risk management, I think that will depend on what part of your journey you're in right now. That's very, you can be very sort of fluid with that. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are, you mean Shervin's thoughts?
Both of you, like, what do you guys...
My thoughts are that what you're essentially saying is that you've prioritized risk management so much that it comes second nature to you.
Yeah.
That it's subconsciously a first priority for you. So you're not to you, it's not priority 1 because it's not a weakness, it's a strength for you.
Yes,
right?
there we go.
So you're prioritizing things based on your weaknesses and your strengths, not based on what is priority for you. So psychology is a weakness for you, so you're prioritizing that because you tend to buy against resistance.
You see, I can actually hear him laugh. This guy.
Okay. So yeah, no, I'm just joshing, but you know what I mean. Your answer is more so dependent on what you're focusing on right now to make sure that your trade is successful.
Yeah, exactly. So
Shervin, what do you as a trader, and now this sits in why everyone's personality is different, and you guys need to focus on what you're weak at, right? Shervin, tell us about your weaknesses. Because my weaknesses, Krisha's weaknesses, we all have different weaknesses, right? I'll tell you guys my weaknesses. My biggest weakness is chaos, right? So Candice in the Mango Sprouts section recently posted a write-up of her trade setup, and I believe someone mentioned as a reply, it was David. David replied saying, wow, my trade setups are so chaotic. And I'm like, yeah, mine too. My weakness is chaos. And then I see someone like Candice and even Krisha, they're so methodical, right? And I'm like, man, I wish I could be like this because I'd be better. I'm trying to be better now. Krisha knows I'm trying to be better with my structure in other aspects of my life. So what are your weaknesses, Shervin? Tell us what you're trying to work on.
Where do I start from? There's so many. I've realized there are when it comes to trading, there are a lot of points that I need to work on. But recently, it's been patience for me. The reason for that is I didn't appreciate, I guess, until I've spent maybe this amount of time from, say, January to now, how long it takes for a 2-day time frame or a 4-day time frame trade or a weekly time frame trade to actually pan out. But also, given that those are higher time frame trades, they also give you a lot of time to get in. So what I was doing a lot was treating those higher time frame trades as like they're going to happen immediately and I have to either get in or get out. And it got to a point where I was impatient, and by impatience I would come in and eventually I don't even know how, because I was somehow finding ways to operate within my rule set. I guess you could argue that the rules weren't strict enough at that point, which is what I've worked on. So patience has been the one thing for me, but I know there's so many other things. Like execution is another aspect, but I know that as long as I am careful, practice is something that's going to definitely build into that.
That's a good answer. Weaknesses, and you mentioned patience there, Shervin, and I feel like I feel like that concept of patience ties into a lot of problems that many new traders have in the market. Now, think of my weakness, right? Sean just mentioned it, and he's burst out laughing. Krisha always buys against resistance. Now that ties directly into patience, right? So it's about, and it's awesome that you get to you're reflecting on this, right? And I think a part of just being self-aware is also going to help with your execution and your trade planning. Now I noticed Candice's write-up, the write-up she did in terms of a trade setup, and I mentioned this. I'm like, this is super methodical. Like, it leaves such less room for error in terms of the manager, the person planning your trade, right? This is something that you spoke about, Shervin. The person planning the trade versus the person executing the trade. The person executing the trade, when it's so concise, when it's so like, you know, it's all done for you, all you gotta do is follow the rules, there's not much room for you to break the rules. And it also sort of ties into patience in a way, because when you have your rules in play, right? When everything's methodical, you automatically there's like a thing of patience already implied in there. Okay, I'm only gonna take the trade if it comes down here. So there's no such thing as, oh, let me just jump the gun. You know?
Exactly.
So
Sean, could you tell us about a situation where you violated your rules on patience, or rather, if it was you did not have rules on your patience just yet, what led you to come to that conclusion that, you know what, I need to be more patient? You mentioned how you realize that it takes a while for trades to pan out, but could you explore that a little bit more for us?
So the let's look at actually. Can you go on the 2-day time frame?
of course I can.
With the dynamic.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm here. 2-day with the
If you
dynamic.
look at when we retook the dynamic at the 48K level, that was where I entered long there based on my rules, and it was all going very well up until when we got to the top of Bitcoin. And that was a time where I was getting quite bullish on everything Bitcoin, and I was also learning about it. So my mindset psychology was completely out of the door. And my rules don't say I should add to my trade. I already have an amount of risk on, and I shouldn't add any more risk onto my trade. So I was looking at this, well, I'm sitting in a bit of profit. We're coming down to touch the dynamic, and you see that was quite a choppy, all over the place area.
You're looking at the December area, right? Just a quick
yeah.
Right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. Correct, yeah. Just from the when we took the 48K level on the 2-day dynamic, and then we went all the way up to, I guess, 69K.
Yeah.
Oh,
In that
no.
range,
So Krisha, he's talking about the other trade, the one that I unhedged my position at. You're referring to that one,
Yeah.
Shervin?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly there. My rules were not telling me that I was supposed to do anything. I just thought of this, well, Bitcoin's going to get to 100,000 and I'm going to miss it. That's the feeling I got, even though I was in this whole mode of I shouldn't be bypassing in the rules and all that. And I got so impatient where I started to basically give all of the profit that I had back. And when we closed under, I just closed in a loss, not a small loss, not a big loss either, but I just closed in a loss because I was just giving all of that profit back. I'd forgotten my risk management and everything had gone, and I just sat back and realized, what am I doing? These were the rules I sat down. These were the reasons why I wanted to do these. And had I not done any of this, if you go from the top of the candle close all the way to where we closed under the 2-day dynamic, that is not a trade to be snuffed at. That's big. I should have just taken that one and moved on. And that was really
So wait, let me get this straight, because I'm pretty sure the audience would appreciate this too. Where exactly did you take your trade? If you could give us the date. Let's walk through this. This. What was the date? Like on the candle.
30th of September.
Okay, yeah. So Krisha, it was further behind. It was further behind. That's where you went long, right?
Yeah, when we closed above the 2-day dynamic, and we reclaimed the 2-day dynamic back, that's where I went long.
30. Okay. Right. Okay, we cleared it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's why I thought he was talking about, because that's where I unhedged my position, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you're saying that okay, so what went wrong, Shervin, between now and the point where you you mentioned something about how you started giving away all your profits? Whoa, how did that happen?
I really don't know. This is something I'm paying attention to now. But what I did do when we were up, let's say the first run all the way up to 67K, when we came back down and gave that 2-day dynamic a retest, what I should have done, if I were to stick to my rules, was to add half of a risk at a safety multiplier on the second touch of the dynamic, and then that is all I want to. I am happy with my position at that point. I should have been happy with my position at that point. I didn't get the bid on the touch, and you can see how many times we've actually perfectly touched it. But let's just forget about that now while the pains are coming back. I just bought that entire mid range of it, so the entries that I were adding on top of this simple trade idea that I had were all bad risk to reward entries. They weren't in the right place. They weren't even following my rules. They were just like, well, we're going to go to the moon, and that's what was kind of driving me, to be kind of completely honest. Even though it's really difficult, but at that junction, I have also realized that I have an extreme bias for Bitcoin, given that it's recently become a religion for me. But you know what I mean. So I needed to be very careful. I realized how I need to be careful about not paying attention to that. So, but what I did was I just added a lot more risk at a point where we were far from my invalidation. And yeah, when we did get invalidated, all of those new positions ended up in a loss that took not only the profit that I had from the initial run, but also everything else that that was there.
Yeah, I've been there. I've done that. I've made the same mistake that you're talking about, man. I've made that mistake. Believe me.
Well, I don't want to ever feel that way again, though. You know, I've heard you say this, that I don't want to ever feel that. I really don't want to ever feel the way I felt from 69K all the way down to wherever we are, because it was all hype and excitement and emotion that was running my thought process rather than TA or risk management. Even though I'm sitting here saying risk management is the most important thing and psychology is second, I clearly hadn't followed it there.
That's
but I'm never
because
going to let that happen again.
There are two people, right? We need to acknowledge that there's two Shervins. There's the manager Shervin, and then there's the executor Shervin. And once you accept that, then you can say these things and be a hypocrite, because you're not really a hypocrite. There's just two versions of you, and one of the versions of you is not listening to the smarter version of you. And that's how I look at it. When I make mistakes, I'm like, that effing Sean, man, does not ever listen. I'd effing fire him.
That's one way to pawn it off with someone else.
I'm gonna fire. Yeah, why not? Whatever it takes to help your psychology in this game. I say that to people. Whatever it takes to help your psychology. Right?
So Shervin, is there anything that you do for yourself that, you know, helps you sort of remember these mistakes? Because I don't know if this happens with you guys, if this happens with you, Shervin, but I often have this thing. I mean, just today, I had some short-term memory loss there. I forgot the videos that I did yesterday. Now, I usually tend to forget the mistakes that I make, and then I keep making them again and again and again and again, and it costs me, like, too much. You can ask Sean. I go to him crying. And so is there anything that you do, Shervin, that helps you sort of remember these mistakes in terms of, you know, making sure that you do not repeat them? Do you keep a log? Do you do anything, you know, in that regard? And would you recommend it?
Oh, absolutely. I think and the word discipline comes into this, but journaling is one thing that helped me. I need to stick to it, so it's not something I'm doing perfectly. I don't want it to come across that way. But when I did do journaling, as in like anything above and beyond my risk management, the risk management numbers in my risk management, anything that is in that module, that is just as you said, Krisha. I've realized that I need that hard black and white 0-1 rule that gets stuck to. The second bit of it is to just write down my thoughts at the time and why I want to take this trade, and just a little bit more than just a one-liner. Now, what I did realize that when I started to actually write down what I'm thinking about this, I talked myself out of taking so many trades that then later on, they all panned out horribly because I was not taking those trades based on good ideas. Just writing them down helped me a lot. So I'm working on a journal in Notion that allows me to have a kind of just a wizard style of click next. So then the system is making me go through that journaling practice, because I think it really helps be able to document what you were thinking, what was your emotional state at that point. And just those questions alone, I've realized, by asking those questions or by reading them off a journal page that is then prompting you to type, I go in and thinking, how am I feeling? I feel like I want to make money, so this is this is not the right mindset to be in, or I feel like I'm ready and this is the right trade and all that. So that helped a bit. And I think journaling is something that is utterly critical to trading, in my opinion, and I want to build a habit of it. But yeah, I told you I have discipline problems before.
But it comes with time, right? As in, like, as soon as you, it's that essentially, even journaling, believe it or not, guys, it comes down to discipline. And that's why, like, I got wrecked. You can ask Sean, I used to get wrecked, and that's why I've been making it a point to make sure I get to my risk management sheet on time before I take a trade, because it's everything. It's what really keeps you keeps you safe, keeps you level-headed when things go south. And yes, trades can go south, right? They go south often, in fact. So it's about understanding that. Shervin, I want to talk to you about your trading personality. Now that you've gone through this entire journey, now we're all here finding out our personality when it comes to trading. Have you found that out about yourself? What kind of personality are you? Are you the kind of guy who likes, there's those, I'm gonna stick to the charts, I'm gonna play, I basically just want to watch the charts, I'm gonna play the lower time frames, and that's my personality, that's what I live for, and that's what makes me very, very happy. Like, what's your trading personality? Have you found that out about yourself?
I would say I am learning about that rather than found out, because I don't think it's a finished thought process at all. But what I have realized is I want to completely differentiate my trend trades and higher time frame trades versus any range trades and short-term trades. Before, I was mixing them all up, and the different thought processes are all over the place. What I really like is just looking at these long trend trades, and I just look at them nowadays. I don't really look at a 2-day dynamic or a weekly trend as a trade. Actually, I look at it as an opportunity. You go in, you deploy some capital. Oh, it worked out, and I treat it as a kind of a, I don't know, this is in my head, like as an investment rather than trading. And I now want to look at, and some investments don't pan out, some investments, this is just my vocabulary that I've kind of put in my head, right?
Yeah.
And then my short-term timeframes, I don't know yet. Actually, Mock, Ollie, Paolo, these guys have been really helpful, trying to give me some ideas on how to tune in my short time frames and try to find range trades, because I do have the I would say luxury of time a little bit, where I can sit down behind a computer for 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day and just look for short-term trades in and out. I feel comfortable with the procedure and risk management that I have and what Seed's given me to be able to go into those lower time frames, but I'm seeing them as a, this session's closed, that's it. Once I am away from my desk, there is no more trades. And there was a lot of merge of that before for me, where I was leaving limit orders that was just for a short-term trade that then got merged into the other. So what I found out is that if I manage to differentiate these two clearly, I get to have a different perspective on it. And it's really helped me be able to look at those trend trades differently to those short-term time frame trades. And whilst they're all trades per se, and the variable of time is a little bit different in them, I treat them completely different. I treat the lower time frames as like a hunting action, where I go in, get out.
That's really interesting. I find that really, really interesting. Now, I always wondered, in fact, I don't know about you guys, but I always wondered whether people actually did that. They sort of separated their trades based on the time frames they were playing. Now, for me, it was just like, you know what, it really depends on market conditions. Usually, if it's a bullish market, I'll take the trend, I'll take the whole trend, whatever I can get out of it. Very, very little management, to be done there. But when it comes to like market junctures like this one, I mean, you can play the ranges, in and out, have your take profits and stuff. And it's nice, but I always wondered whether people sort of categorized their trades in like these little baskets and then sort of managed it. But then, do you have a tough time managing your trades then, Shervin? Like, what do you do in terms of trade management and stuff? Like, how do you sort of go about that? What do you have, like a system for yourself?
I'm building one, I guess.
Okay.
For my long-term trades or any higher time frame trend trades, I just stick to the risk management module for and the hypothesis that we have, because that's, I think, perfectly enough. That I don't want to overcomplicate it. The entire point of that is I set alarms when we close a candle above the dynamic trading view gives me a signal, I sit behind it, I fill in my sheet, I put my position on, and then move away. I want it to be that. Whether it's that perfect in execution right now, obviously not, but that's what I want it to be, if you know what I mean. But my short-term timeframes, I'm looking for price movements and liquidity hunts, and there's a lot of waiting in that short time frame trades, and I don't take any of them. I haven't taken any live. I'm just backtesting at this stage to learn which ones I like. So I've run through once, just trying to take as many of the opportunities, and then I've gone through it again and been like, well, could I have actually taken this opportunity? No, I would have been sleeping at this time. So I'm trying to.
Hey, that's important, right? That's
I think
super
it is,
super
yeah.
important. I think that's so important.
No one talks about that. No one like talks about the fact that you need to have a sustainable trading plan. And there was a time where you mentioned, Shervin, that was so profound. I wanted to interrupt so badly, but I was trying not to. You said something about looking for trades where you're going to be awake during the trade, right? Can I even? That's so important, right? Can you close the trade when you need to? Right, like if you have to stay up past your sleeping time just to be able to take profits, that's not sustainable, guys. You want to build a sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah, because you won't last. You won't last. Like, you're gonna get really, really tired. You're gonna get tapped out. It's gonna lead to a lot of stress. So do something that fits your time schedule, more importantly, and as well as your personality. Very, very important. And it's basically what Shervin said, right? You're trying to discover, okay, what is your personality? And then you'll find that, you know what, that personality of yours applies to many other aspects in your life, and it just comes very naturally. So you got to make sure that your trading style just flows into your personality.
On personality, on trading style, I want to ask Shervin this question. So Shervin, you alluded to you being more, like, you're more interested in these big trend trades. Could you talk to us a little bit about how you decided that support and resistance trades, trading the ranges, may not be your style? I think people will find a lot of value in you being able to talk about going through that process of try. I'm sure you tried support and resistance trades. Mm-hmm. What did you learn from that?
So when I looked at trading, right, those trend trades I treat as, let me formulate my thoughts here.
Take your time.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
This is not an easy question to answer, so take your time.
So when I'm talking about range trades, right? Those range trades, if I were to look at something at a, say, 1 hour or 4 hour support and resistance, I looked at them and I was like, all right, in order to, once you backtest them and you look at the number of trades you need to actually be able to take successfully, not win successfully, but take successfully, because you want to pan out the entire probability range, right? I realized that I could have just spent going to my job and working with people and talking to people, rather than having to look at chart and wait for an opportunity. And it was probably, if I were to narrow it down, it is the rate of execution, or the amount of quote-unquote work that needs to be done in order to acquire something at the end of the day, versus a trend trade where, yeah, you accept that it doesn't pan out majority of the time, but the ones that do, and this is where my conviction comes in, the ones that do, given that we are in a market of crypto where trends are everywhere and they do have a lot of underlying fundamental reasons why they should continue on, I know that with just catching 1 or 2 of those trend trades, I can probably make whatever, or generate the same amount of risk to reward that I would from my risk management trades. But the support and resistance management trades, if I were to take those, I just have to take way too many trades. I have to be working way too much, and I wouldn't be able to have a holistic view on the entire market, so that I can have those appreciations for my trends. Is it the right opportunity? Are we trending? So on and so forth. So I think it just comes down to what I really want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I do want to be able to range trade as well, but I want to be able to create a set of rules where I'm able to sit behind the charts the times that I do have, hunt for opportunities. If they come, I'll take them. If they don't, I won't. And I don't have to be relying on, I need to make 54 trades this month in order to hit my ratio so that I can do that. And that was really the main differentiator for me between them.
Yeah, brilliant. So essentially, in a nutshell, what you're saying is people don't account enough of time to the amount of time it takes for trade management. And people think that trade management is only a cost after you put on the trade, but sitting and waiting for the trade to even pan out when it's support and resistance especially is a bigger cost than trend trading. Trend trading, in a way, is stress-free in its simplicity of execution. Because as soon as the trend activates, you get in, right? You adjust position size if you're further away from your ideal position, but you just get in because you don't know when the trend is going to stop. But for support and resistance, you have to be a little bit more precise. You want to be as close as support as possible. And there's a cost to that. There's a time cost of waiting for it to come to your support and then waiting for it to hit your resistance. And sometimes it's more about not leaving your computer because it's about to hit resistance. The trade may take 2 hours, the trade may take 2 days, and you're sitting there waiting for it to pan out the entire time. And there's a cost to that. And as long as you're willing to endure that cost, that's fine. But some people don't have that time. They don't have, they have day jobs, they have a family that they want to enjoy, etc. So that's essentially the risk reward that, or rather the trade-off that you're talking about, right, Shervin, where you're like, you know what, the amount of time I have to spend to get this is not, it's not something I'm enjoying. And you guys now understand why I say journey before destination at the beginning of the program. If you're not enjoying support and resistance, don't trade it. Yeah. If you are, if you love it and you're getting a thrill out of it, do it and milk it.
Yeah. So it's funny that we're talking about this because someone just asked in the chat, so how do you find out your personality? And it's basically just that. Ask yourself, what do you enjoy, right? If you had to make a trade-off between trading and doing something else in your life right now, and if you're willing to make that trade-off to do that something else, then that's what makes you happy. And you gotta just, make sure that your trading works around that ultimately, because that's gonna make it a bit more, you're gonna have a lot more endurance when it comes to actually trading. And also with that, you're sort of beginning to reflect into your personality and how you would like to trade. Right? Because I think we can all agree that everyone wants to make money, right? Yes? Okay. So it's just about understanding in what way, like what do you want to do otherwise, right? Now, I hate managing trades, right? So I'm a trend trader, or I'll take the nice big chunky ranges, get in, get out. But that's me. Now, someone like, say, Rob, in fact, Shervin, I'm not sure if you know, but Rob also, he trades like the super, super low time frames there. So that's his personality, and that's not necessarily that's wrong, right? It's just his personality, and that's completely fine. So ask yourself, what do you enjoy? If you had to make that trade-off, right? Would you make a trade-off between trading and doing something else? So, Shervin, I have a question to ask you. Okay, now that you've come this far in, and if you had to go back in the past and give your past self one piece of advice when it came to trading, what would you say to yourself?
Speed as soon as possible. Why did I wait so long? Like, I'm not joking. That was the point where I realized, oh, cool. All this time that I'm spending is now being put into the right direction. Honestly, I knew where you were going to go with that. Education. I would say get educated. I wasted a year, Krisha. I know that I learned a lot. Now that I've done the seed and been able to reflect on what I was doing back then, because our orders are all there recorded, right? So I went and looked. I managed to learn a lot. But that's me trying to kind of extract some more value out of those points. And there were so many points in my life where I was thinking I should just get an education on it. Like, am I going to stick to this? Am I not? If you decide that this is something you want to look at and want to do, and it does not mean that you got to quit your job, it does not mean that you got to trade this every 24/7 or a 1 minute time frame. And I think it's something that everybody can fit into their lives in one way or another. And I would recommend you get educated, whatever it is. Even if it's not the seed program, you go find something else. but get educated. Don't try to just go on YouTube and do what I did.
You taking other courses, Shervin? Just as a
I
You-
haven't. No, actually, I have taken one course, but I wouldn't even feel comfortable to use the word course for whatever I took, because it was so horrible. Uh, but the seed course is the only quote unquote course that I have really spent time and gone through.
It's gonna spoil you. It's gonna spoil you for everything else that comes. I've actually
Yeah,
tried,
it's enough.
and I tried taking. I think I took an options course a couple of years back, and man, it was brutal. Like, and then Sean suddenly explains options to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I get that now. That makes a lot of sense.
So a little backstory for you guys. A few people came up to me and said, "Sean, I've tried so and so. I'm not going to name these courses, but they're like, I've tried so and so courses, and your course is so much better." Blah blah blah. And these courses kept coming up, the names of these courses. So I'm like, okay, you know what, Krisha, if you want to make yourself useful. Could you please do some competitor research for us? Could you watch these courses and tell me what these guys are talking about? And Krisha's been trying to watch these courses for like 3 years now, and she can't get through them. So that's kind of why I asked you. I'm like, could you give us some feedback on any other courses that you watched? So.
Oh, Sean, there's absolutely. I want to say this, and I'm not blowing your trumpet. Is that the word? I'm looking for. But there are courses out there, and there are two factors. There is what content's in that course, but also who is delivering that course, and are they actually just delivering a script to you or trying to teach you? Sean, there's at university when I was studying, I was one of those that would just practice for the test, come in, ace it, and go, and I wouldn't really spend time at the lecture. The lecturers that did keep me were the ones that really were actually teaching you and communicating with you and as a student, and trying to make sure that you have all the building blocks in your awareness in your brain in order to be able to understand the next concept and the next concept. I can only applaud you and thank you for what you've done at the Seed program, because it is literally that. It's not a trading course. It's a sit down here and I will explain and feed you all the building blocks you need in order to be able to go out there and understand. And the way you've delivered it for me has been, it kind of resonated a lot with me, which is why I'm so grateful. So I wanted to kind of definitely make sure to mention that.
Boom.
Thank you so much, man. I poured my heart into that program, and
I think every seedling agrees.
Yeah. I watched this man. Really. I mean, he had to redo, quite a bit. He's like, no, it has to go in flow. It has to be like a logical set of flow. He wanted to make sure that you got the foundations that will take you to the next step, wherever the next step leads you to. But that foundation is the most important thing. And that's what that gave me too, right? I mean, I watched him and he sort of walked me through the entire thing, and I'm just like, okay, this is amazing. My biggest aha moment was definitely risk management.
Nobody had ever explained risk to me. Collateral risk, counterparty risk, trade risk. It's not just here's this number and you're going to lose 2%. It really is the entirety of it. And I started to think about the altcoin positions I had, the security of my hardware wallets. And this is genuinely not stuff that I expected to get out of a quote unquote trading program, which I don't believe Seed is just a trading program. So yeah, there's so much in there, from the way you should look at the entire market so that you get there and then you still get wrecked hard because you
perceive things differently suddenly. Like you're seeing so much more. You're suddenly seeing certain caveats, and not just in your trades, but in other freaking platforms that you deal with. Suddenly, everything is risk, and you definitely look at the world with a brand new lens. So I completely agree with you there, Shervin. Like that hit a note. That hit a big note with me, man. And look at that, the chat. Everyone's like, yeah, here, yes, amen. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's why I couldn't choose the best part. Sorry, Sean, you were saying something.
No, I said you guys are making my day with this. It warms my heart to hear that you guys feel this way. More than you guys know. like this is important to me, because I've always, Kusha knows that even during university days, I would like be standing in front of like a big round table of these first year and second year students, trying to teach them the things I knew, right? Like I just always wanted to I wanted to teach what I knew. So it's one of the reasons why, well, even though trading was such a success for me, especially after the big Bitcoin dump, etc., things just started going my way. Everything that had to go right was going right, but I just did not feel fulfilled. I realized it was this element that I was missing again in my life, which was teaching. So when you guys say this, it means more to me than even all these gains from trading. So thank you.
We mean it. Thank you.
Well deserved, Sean. Like, man, I think you've changed lives with this one. Definitely, you've definitely changed my life. In many ways, but trading is definitely one.
I love what Candice just mentioned. I now have a plug-in mouse on my desk just in case my wireless mouse fails. And I remember, and I was wondering whether anyone was going to mention that, because I remember doing that section in the risk management module, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, this is going to be so silly to talk about, but F it, it is a real risk, because it's happened to me, and it could happen to any one of them, right? So it is a risk that no one else will talk about, because it's not cool, or it's not technical, or because maybe they've not really traded and they don't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to talk about it. And it stuck with me, and now Candice mentioned it, and it's a real risk. I have two mouse right here in front of me right now. Right, so we have two mouse on every desk.
Me too.
So do I. I've got two as well.
Two of everything for the risk risk mitigation. So with this Shervin, let's jump into, now that we've dissected quite a bit in terms of psychology and just like getting into your trading personality and your trading journey. Let's do you have any sort of trade idea, any sort of chart that you are looking at personally right now? It doesn't have to be anything, it doesn't even have to be crypto related. Is there anything that you personally are looking at right now?
I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to decide. I've kind of, with the juncture.
How about we do this? How about we share your screen, Shervin? Let's do that. Let's do that, Kusha.
Let's go. Give me a minute. Guys, I'm very new to this, you see. I'm fumbling and mumbling. Okie dokes. Oh, you see my screen. Brilliante. Okay, Shervin, are you ready to share your screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Doing it now.
Whenever you're ready, buddy. So yeah, Shervin is... There's a lot of interesting things about... Shervin's come a long way, even in terms of the fundamental aspect of things, eh?
Oh, fundamentals are the best part. There we go. I think I'm okay now. I just closed the YouTube stream, so I wanted to get it back.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Let's go. Boom. All right. We can see Shervin's chart. As you can see, his green candles are actually orange, and his red candles, to mitigate any sort of, fear, are all gray. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why you have it, but yeah, it's cool. I love the color scheme.
It is for that reason. I
Really?
I don't want to look at red candles. They make me angry like a bull, and then I buy into resistance. So yeah, what I'm really looking at this juncture. So when Sean asked me to have either a trade idea or just describe what I'm looking at, I actually struggled a lot, because I started to say, well, I'm just currently looking at the 2-day dynamic. I'm waiting for a retest either on the upline or the top of the dynamic to buy it, and I'll get into what I'm looking below and above in a second. But then I thought, oh, how am I actually going to present this idea? Because I can't just say, well, I'm looking for this candle close or this sweep of this, and every word and like vocabulary that I need to use to be aware of the risk management to then pass on this quote unquote trade idea. It was really difficult. I was really struggling with it. But what I then decided to just say is to describe what I'm waiting for and what I plan to do. So from for the downside, currently I'm not looking to long anything over here unless we come further down and touch the 2-day dynamic. And with regards to the top of the kind of further up, I'm looking at resistance that we have on the 53k level. So myself, I'm currently waiting on the lower time frames for a touch of the 2-day dynamic, and I plan on building a position in this range. So I have kind of an order at the top of the dynamic, order at the middle of the dynamic, and an order at the bottom of the dynamic.
Nice.
And this is what I always do. I just divide it by 3. Whether this is the right way of doing it or the wrong way of doing it, is it profitable? I decided to do that simply to make my life easier, and I realized that I have that flexibility to do those things as well. So I just I'm kind of looking to build a position on the 2-day dynamic. I'm completely ready to get out immediately if we do close under the 2-day dynamic, which if I go back to there, and I apologize if I'm moving things around, I'm definitely
no,
not.
I think you're good.
I'm appreciating how hard it is what you guys are doing, by the way, by just showing you the screen. So if we do close under this, if we do close a 2-day under the 2-day dynamic, which I'm expecting it to be unlikely, then I get out of my trade and I look for something else, and I won't trade until we close back above it. Those are literally the only type of trades I'm taking actively with live funds at the moment. Everything else I am practicing with. Now it's not paper testing,
Paper trading?
Yeah, paper trading, or it's not back testing, because those type of tests don't teach me. So what I do what Sean says, where I have a sub account on FTX with $100 in, and I treat it as I need those positive and I need those green and red P&L indicators to impact my emotions for me to know exactly how I'm acting. So I forward test a lot of little ideas here and there and different things, which they're not baked enough for me to even be able to describe. But this is what I'm looking on the downside. And on the upside, if we do continue from here, I don't really want to take any trades until we have some decent candle closes above the 10 SMA. Because at that point, the 10 SMA is out of the way, we've closed it. I then want to build a position with the expectation that we're going to close above the 10 monthly SMA.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at reaction in this area, because I see the 53k zone as a big resistance zone. We also have liquidity above here is what I'm seeing. So I want to wait for the reaction. What happens here? So I do have a range trade from the monthly 10 SMA to this resistance zone.
Okay.
But that's going to be on my basic paper trading kind of method.
This is brilliant. Someone in the chat just said it showed up on the YouTube screen. It's not showing up in the chat for some reason. But someone just said, "Holy shit, you guys got to get this man on here more often." And I totally agree. I think like Shervin, what I'm gonna ask you to do every now and then is just come on here at the beginning of the live streams and show us what you're looking at. Like this right here, even though there's you're telling us that, hey, there's no trade activated just yet, right? But I'm going to be trading only in this environment and under these conditions. I personally find that extremely valuable for me as a trader, where I'm willing to wait. The other day we had a comment on one of Krisha's videos that said these analysts are only waiting for confirmation. They don't ever do anything. Well, thank you so much for that, because I'm really proud that you're saying that, because that's what real traders do. So right over here, when you say I'm waiting for so-and-so conditions to activate before I take my trade, and you were able to, number one, explain it so well, so clearly, so succinctly for all the audience over here. And number two, I love how organized your chart is, yes. Shervin. Holy shit, I could see the smile on Krisha's face when you were showing all of this. and it's because she has to deal with my chaos most of the time, right? So Shervin, this is amazing. I'm going to put you on the spot, man. I'm going to be asking you to come on more often just to make
Wow.
my life easier. This is not for you. Don't say wow. Don't say thank you. You're going to
Be a
be
pleasure.
doing Mango a huge favor because this is really good, man.
I
You telling us what's going on through your mind is going to be.
yeah.
I think you're going to be able to help the community more than even I could at this point because of how well you're able to speak out what you're going through in terms of your thought process and your struggles, right? People can relate to struggles far more. So
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I,
Yeah,
I
it'd be my
really like
pleasure.
the fact that you had everything covered. I was going to ask you questions, but then you sort of answered one after the other, right? I was going to ask you, I'm like,
yeah.
okay, are you playing the trend? Are you playing the range? She's like, I'm playing the range. I was also going to ask you, okay, what if price doesn't come down there? What's your next plan? But you told me that, you're going to wait for that, the close over the 10 SMA, some strength over that. And then, that's where you're likely going to take the next, likely going to look for a position. So it's really awesome how you have every sort of edge case sort of accounted for there, right? In case this happens, I'm going to do this. In case this happens, I'm going to do this. And that's one thing I want to sort of bring your focus to as far as what Shervin said in terms of his trade. It's about understanding that there are going to be other sort of outcomes to the current price action besides the one that you personally are gunning for, right? And it's about understanding, okay, what could be the possible outcomes and really highlighting that. There's your play and there's the other plays that could possibly happen. And it's about understanding what you're going to do under those circumstances as well. And I want to highlight how Shervin has a plan even if something else happens on the chart besides price coming back down to the 2-day dynamic, right, which is the level that he's looking to build his trade on. So that's very, very important. And so that's why I also draws into the whole thing of do not get fixated on one trade play. Understand the other possible outcomes of a certain chart. So major props on that, Shervin.
Yep. And
Major
guys, notice how
props.
Shervin has made sure that when he switches down on over to the lower time frames, he has the 2-day dynamic marked out over there. I'm not going to explain why. I'm going to let Shervin explain why. Shervin, why do you have the 2-day dynamic marked on your lower time frames?
Because I want to see price reaction while we're in the box on the lower time frames, but those aren't going to make any decisions for me. So my orders are set in this area, and really I'm looking for it to I'm looking to see whether if we come into this area, are we going to come in and start closing candles and 4-hour candles and 12-hour candles, which can then start increasing the probability of us going further down, or are we just coming in and sweeping the area and trying to live above it? So the only reason is for me to be able to kind of try to I don't want to use the word predict, but try to, if we have 90% of the candles in a 2-day candle closing inside this box, the probability of the close also closing under it is high. But then if we have 90% of the candles closing and then the last 15 minutes of the 2-day candle close, we pump up and we close above it, that's another giveaway, I think, or information. So I'm only blocking it out in this way so that I can see how price reacts on the lower time frames when we get there.
That's awesome.
Does it help you psychologically in any way?
Oh yeah. When we're in the lower
Very
time
good.
frame, we've got a big candle. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Big
that's
red candle
that's
in
the
there.
big answer I was looking for. Could you explain? Could you explain the thought process to the audience?
So we're looking at short-term trends, right? Or let's assume that the price is going to do something like this. Let's assume, right? I'm saying we are in this kind of juncture, and then the price starts to kind of produce this format where we've got this rounding formation. I even though whatever red candles we see or however choppy this area is, I look at this as a kind of a lower time frame trend falling onto higher time frame support, and I would expect that higher time frame support, which is the two. Oops, this happens all the time, right? To everybody.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, you guys feel my pain.
I would expect a different reaction in this area, because yeah, it just makes me be fully aware and not lose track. Like if I go into the 15-minute time frame, right, and I delete these, like this is just like what's going on here. I've lost track. I don't know where I am at all. I don't know what I'm looking at. But if I were to zoom out and just look at the price with respect to the higher time frame support. Like, this has been brutal. Like, I actually know a friend of mine who traded this. Like, I don't even know how he drew it, but he looked at this as a symmetrical triangle, right? And he kind of longed this area, got dumped on, and then, like, this isn't something that I'm looking at all if I'm taking any trades. Everything that I do has to be based on the higher time frame, because it gives me that, oh God's sake, it gives me that sense of direction. And if you have that sense of direction, or if I have that sense of direction, I realize that I don't FOMO into this pumps and dumps, and I don't take any trades in that sense, and I just have the ability to wait. I realize this 2-day candle has
It
another
confines you
13
to a
hours.
perimeter.
Yeah.
In the Mango Sprout section, just this morning, after Candace posted her analysis, Swag responded with a one-liner and a chart saying, I am only trading in this zone. That's what you've done here, Shervin. You're like, I'm only trading in this zone. It tells you, I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens above it. I don't care for all the volatility. That's all noise. I'm only trading here. If it comes down here, I'm not going to get scared, because when you don't have these rules, you don't have something to confine you, suddenly you're looking at everything, right? When you're not saying I'm only trading here, what you also are saying essentially is I'm going to care about everything, which essentially means that all the volatility you are involved in mentally and psychologically. So when it suddenly comes down and fast, instead of you thinking, hey, it's finally here to the zone I was waiting for, you're instead thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's dumping, I'm out, right? I'm scared. Instead, a guy like Swag is thinking, it's finally here, my time has come, I'm going to long it. And I want all of you seedlings to think back to Swag's demeanor most recently, right? Ever since the year started, he took a long at around 32,000, 30,000, and he said, I'm just waiting. I'm long here, I don't care what happens in the interim, I'm waiting, right? And look how well his trade is panning out, guys. He's been the quietest he's ever been, and he's also been the most profitable, because he's not letting the lower time frames affect him. And he thinks, and you guys think that I'm not watching every single thing that you guys are saying, but I am. I'm watching your demeanor, I'm watching how you guys are trading, and I've been watching Swag too, and he's been doing fantastic recently. And even his responses to you guys has been more mature, because he's gone through the journey of getting sucked into the lower time frames, coming back out, and then figuring it out, right? So I'm glad to see what you have on your charts here, Shervin. It's you're on the right direction.
Yeah, very methodical, extremely methodical. And Sam Wise, in fact, he just made a comment. He said it centers you and makes you see everything with respect to your strategy, and that's essentially your strategy, right, Shervin? Like the 2-day dynamic. So and now I have a question for you. How often do you find that your higher time frame regions play out on your lower time frames?
All the time. Well, it's a big edge.
Yeah.
Those so the lines I would draw are always going to be based on 2-day plus, because then they get respected heavily on the lower time frames, give you a lot of range trades. I also want to answer DJ Blitz here. Says, can I ask Shervin, why do you only look for
that's
longs?
a good question.
I don't. My rule allows me to look for longs above the 2-day dynamic and look for shorts below the 2-day dynamic. So if we do get this candle to close underneath it, I will short Bitcoin, perhaps down to these lows, and then see what happens, because it's crazy. But yeah, I would look for shorts under the 2-day dynamic.
Is there anything that like you are uncomfortable doing so far in your trading journey, and you're looking to you're sort of working towards it?
Talk about oscillators, Shervin. That was going to be my next question to you. Like, so do you use oscillators? And
I don't. I actually don't. I have them. I understand the basics of how to read them from the seed, but what I've done is I've actually parked that module because I want to come back to it later. I tried, and I just realized that I'm just looking at divergences, and then it wasn't fitting in well with me. But I know for a fact that it's something that I will add to my trades later. I just want to get the execution of what I have on my plate done I want those to be some things I do, and then I want to go out there and explore more and learn more.
Could you
Ichimoku
explain that
modules.
to the audience? Because we do find a lot of new traders who are so obsessed with oscillators, and you've probably gone through the process of trying to explore oscillators too, and you've realized, because you're more of a mature trader, you're now saying, you know what, I need to step back and park this on a shelf like you have, and then come back to that. So what made you come to that realization, and what kind of advice would you give them?
I get very quickly do I get paralyzed by just analyzing too many different indicators. Oscillators were one that I still feel as though I have not fully understood them because I haven't spent the time to. I actually haven't finished some of the parts of the module on oscillators deliberately, because I started to look at them and I could feel myself getting overwhelmed by everything that I have to look at and all of the things that I need to do. But I've also realized that I don't necessarily need anything apart from this in order to be able to take trades, practice my execution, practice my risk management. And quite honestly, I'm leaving some of the stuff for later to just be able to add to my repertoire, and then feel like I have a lot more tools at my disposal. I also do think that I need to work up the floor, if you know what I mean. So I need to be able to take range trades, take trend trades, respect some of the indicators like the Ichimoku, and then start to add on different tools. So I don't have a lot of experience in using oscillators, so I don't know how strong they are, but I deliberately put them aside because I don't want them in my decision-making process just yet.
I like the fact that you address the fact that, I like the fact that you address the fact that you don't, you're okay with what you have right now, and you're able to still come up with trade setups with even the base knowledge of the current technical analysis pieces that you have with you. So it's not necessary that you need the oscillators, it's just something you're leaving for later to add to your repertoire. And that's something that I want to, and even Tan here says, he said, I suck at oscillators too, so I have not been looking at them lately at all. But let me tell you something, guys. Shervin and Tan, they've both been coming up with some amazing trade setups as well. So it's not like you need to focus on one thing, get that pad down in order to be a successful trader. You can use so many other tools in your arsenal that will allow you to come up with, really good trade setups that can still keep you profitable. So that's something that I really want to put out there, because I notice that some people get really fixated on certain oscillators. They try to just get in even though it's not working for them. Now, me personally, even I don't like oscillators. If you notice all my daily videos, I barely pull up oscillators. I don't pull up oscillators, in fact, at all, because it is also a pain point for me. But so Sean and I, we're different like that, but it's not, but I still managed to come up with good trade setups with other tools in my arsenal. So that's something to note. Okay, so don't get too fixated. So it's cool that you mentioned that, Shervin.
This is a really good segue into one of the topics I wanted to explore after, because we talked about what we're weak at, but we also have strengths, and it's really important to recognize our strengths. And I struggle with that. I struggle with recognizing my strengths and being able to capitalize on it, because I tend to think that it's not really a strength, that everyone has this ability to do X, Y, and Z, right? But I can look at Krisha and say, you know what, Krisha has a really good knack for finding key support and resistance levels by just looking at the chart, right? She'll just be like, that's a key level. This is a key level. Like, do you see it? I'm like, no, I don't see it, but I will soon. But we do have our strengths that we don't realize that they're strengths, believe it or not, guys. And things that you think you're strong at, you're probably not strong at it. So, Shervin, what do you think that you have found out that you're good at while watching other people's weaknesses? That's a hard question, but yeah.
Don't worry, no pressure. Think about it. I'll look at the chats in the meanwhile.
I think so it's not a TA answer, but more so a crypto answer. Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely.
My strength is so And I don't feel as though I'm strong at all in any aspect of trading yet, and I haven't had enough practice for me to justify it and says yes, this is the strength. So, but I do have a background in programming and software engineering, so I understand code well. I really once I started studying Bitcoin, I understood what Bitcoin is and how different that is compared to other cryptocurrencies. So when you said strength to comparison to other people, I really have now understood that I can just dump the FOMO that I have on all of these altcoins because they are not the thing that I need in order to be able to kind of have my account and capital in, but rather tools that I can use to ride a trend with if they are pumping or dumping, if you know what I mean. I really now have that vision, and I see other people, a lot of people probably doing stuff that I did when I started, and completely ignoring Bitcoin and jumping into other altcoins because of the potential gain that they have, and then justifying that they can hold this long term and so on and so forth. I really do feel like I've closed that chapter for myself. I've understood, and I understood why it's important to look at Bitcoin differently. I don't know, that may not have been the answer you're looking for related to TA, but that's probably the only thing that came to my mind. TA wise, I'm learning, and trading wise, I think maybe in a year's time or 2 years time, I want to answer that question again.
So essentially, what you're saying is you have a psychological edge now on being able to ride trends without having any kind of induced FOMO on missing a particular move of the trend, right? Because you can say, you know what, this trend has begun. Yes, I've missed 20% of the trend, but hey, it's likely going to go for much longer, and I'm okay with that because this is a tool for me to build my account, and that account could be denominated in Bitcoin for some people, or could be denominated in USD. But you have disconnected that emotional connection to this particular coin could be the winner of the market. You don't care if it's the winner, right?
Exactly.
That's essentially what you're saying. Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That, by the way, guys, requires a bit of maturity to even get to that point, and it's very liberating when you do get there, right? Just having that sort of know-how and that knowledge and that emotional sort of composure to be able to make that decision. That's very key. Now, okay, so guys, we've approached the 2-hour mark. So I want to, Shervin, before I let you go today, I'm sure you have a busy day perhaps in front of you. Are you okay if we take some questions?
Of course, yeah.
Let's go. Any questions for Shervin before we wrap this baby up? This resonates with me, Sam Wise. This was really good. Tell us also, guys, if you really like this, we'll probably get some more seedlings on. Hell, we can get Shervin on again, you know? If this helps, because I feel like sometimes Sean and I might take the knowledge that we have for granted, and we sort of cut to the chase very quickly, but perhaps there's other sort of little caveats that we're leaving.
Sherwin, you're getting a good response already. Depeche Powdell, who's a regular here, by the way, he's a regular. I don't think he's missed any one of the streams since the beginning of the year. He says this video is going to be easily one of the best videos. So good job, Sherwin.
Wow, that makes me all warm and fuzzy, actually.
Hannah has a question for you. When did you join Seed, Sherwin? Tell them about that again, Sherwin. Because I remember you. I remember you telling me about how you joined. You first found Mango, and then you're like, this guy's full of BS. He doesn't give me targets, and then you came back. Tell us about. Yeah. Tell us about that process, how you disappeared, you went to different channels, right? You went to a bunch of other communities.
So I actually bought my first Bitcoin over here. Not my first Bitcoin, but like a very small portion. I was looking at investment strategies here, and I looked at crypto as a like high risk investment, and then I was looking at property investment as a low risk investment, which is what I was working on in this period of my own life. So I had a little bit of crypto, and I was like, all right, now I can trade it. And then I needed to start learning, so I was watching different YouTube videos, and I lasted this long, actually, from August. And I think this dump was where I just said, that's it, it's enough, I'm not looking. at anything. Probably about 150 days, maybe give or take. This period, I was probably watching Mango religiously, and I was also looking at so many different YouTube channels. I don't want to name any names, but you know all the ones that are shouting about how they predicted X exactly and how that's going to go to the moon and all that. And quite honestly, they were really impacting me emotionally, and I can comfortably talk about them now. But there was a point that I was watching Mango. Actually, let me talk about the first video I watched of Mango, right? So I was watching these other YouTubers, and they were all talking about leverage and go get this leverage and go get that leverage. And I was like, cool, so I can make my $100 into that much. And I didn't really understand leverage at the time at all, right? Even though I was getting mortgages, and that's exactly the same thing, but different conversation. So I then stumbled upon Mango, and I started to listen to your videos, Sean, and really, really early on, I was like, okay, this guy is talking. He's talking about what you should do. He's talking differently to everybody else, which is what intrigued me to listen to you more. But I was extremely frustrated. I was like, why is he talking so much? Can you just tell me when to buy? Which is, I realize how horrible that is now, but that is how I was watching those videos, and I was hoping that you would literally that you would drop a hint on a conviction trait that you have, because I was thinking, well, this guy knows so much more than I can ever imagine, so he must know and be able to predict, right? I shadow traded you for so long, and I think I lost every trade. Thankfully, I had from a base sound money management, from a base concept, if you know what I mean. So I wasn't putting my life into it, but a portion of allocation to crypto, and that portion of allocation had to get refilled a couple of times, if you know what I mean. Even though it was small, and I'm really glad that I was approaching it with at least that sense.
So were there trades where I was winning on the trade, but you were losing? And if so, could you tell people about that, because that's what they don't understand.
I don't remember examples because of this period, but I remember I remember just buying and then trying to sell, and I was, the typical, as soon as I buy, it goes down, and as soon as I sell, it goes up. That happened to me one after the other, even though I was shadow trading you. Like that's the funny thing. You weren't necessarily winning or losing, but I was losing every single one because I wasn't really shadow trading you at all. What I was doing is, Sean is bullish, then go to charts, find any excuse that you could possibly find to be bullish, and I can give you so many. If you want me to be bullish, I just suddenly manifest a billion reasons why. Jesus, man. You can tell the frustrations in my voice because it was really, really frustrating back then for me, and I resonate with anyone that goes through this. So I had conviction at Bitcoin at this point, right? But I missed one of your videos, and I think it would have been this. I wouldn't have been this close to COVID because I don't really remember this, but it could have been one of these points where you had a big win on your trade and I didn't, and I had missed that video that you posted, and I was like, why? Because life was busy, right? I had other
because it's one of those rare videos where I finally tell you guys, guys, I just went long, right? Because it's like weeks and weeks and weeks where I'm just telling you guys what I'm planning, and then finally, I'm like, guys, I went long. And it's people who don't have the patience who miss that video.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And I missed that one video because of work, because I was busy. Like, I was committed to watch everything because, like, I needed you to tell me what to do, as pathetic as that sounds. But I missed it because of life and just gets in the way. And that's probably one of the aspects of when you realize what personality you have. I couldn't sit down and trade every single minute of every single day. So when I missed that video, I got so frustrated. I blamed myself for not being committed enough to be able to continue watching your videos so you can give me the signal, as silly as that is. And I got fed up with it, which made me completely, for my mental health, quote unquote, I unsubscribed to you, actually, making sure that I don't get any. I blocked every YouTuber. I might have not even subscribed to you because I did get your notification, but I turned off notifications on my phone so I wouldn't get any kind of interaction with anything. And it kind of made me miss this entire period. I assume it was in this dump here that I would have gotten frustrated, and probably got back around, yeah, probably this candle here, yeah. So I missed this entire period. I wasn't even aware that this happened. Not even while COVID was happening, because I mean, when COVID was happening, we all had a lot of different things on our mind, right? So I never noticed this until Bitcoin pumped, and I was like, "This is yeah, I know, it's weird, isn't it?"
I really thought you were around for the COVID.
Not for this. No.
It was like a 1 year, and yeah, this sort of makes sense because the time frame that you're telling me, that's when you sort of introduced that's when we got introduced through Telegram, and then you came back like exactly like 1 year later. Exactly. Like, hey, I'm Shervin from Telegram. Like, oh yeah, I remember you.
To be honest, when I came back here, I looked at this. I looked at the market. I was like, look, Bitcoin is a thing. We're going through this. I had a little bit of cash on the side, and I wanted to go into Bitcoin even more. And I realized I've waited too long, and FOMO has hit him right this stage, right? But what I did do this time around, I was 100% sure that I did not want to feel this way. I didn't want you to tell me what to do. I wanted you to teach me how to do it. And you had promised us. You had taught me a lot here, right? I had already stopped making some of the mistakes that maybe not on Bitcoin, but on other trading endeavors, let's refer to them as. So I said to myself, I want to do this properly. I started to buy a little bit of Bitcoin here, and then I said to myself, I need to definitely do the seed. And I think it was in this juncture that I joined the seed. I'm not quite sure. It definitely wasn't 2020, so it would have been the next year. Yeah, around this time, February. That's when I joined the seed program. Throughout this entire period, I had finished the course once already. So I was protected by this. I was protected by this because I was at this stage just not putting any big leverage trades. Everything was risk managed, and that risk management module that we have in seed, which I think, well, obviously it's not just the module, it's the entire thing. The risk management module just wraps it all up, which is why I'm referring to it that way. Was one I started to use strictly. Like, I have not, maybe a couple of times, Mock will probably tell you, because he's my bias check, and he'll probably tell you that no, I haven't stuck to my risk management. but I kind of started to follow it at this stage very clearly, and yeah, this was a great learning journey. Like the YouTube videos that we have on Mango, plus the seed course here, was probably what built majority of my
I agree.
So a lot is going to pay off on the next run. That means, I mean, looking at your journey from when you started seed to now, you're about to get the major sort of, booster just with all the knowledge that you have getting into the next run, which I think is
I'm excited
it's
for
on
it.
Yeah, man, dude, I am freaking stoked. Like, I cannot tell you. You can ask Sean.
You're going to be so much. You're going to be so much more prepared. From this conversation, I can tell that you're going to be so much more prepared this time around. You're going to know what to do, and you're going to look back at what your old self would have done in so-and-so situation, and you're going to be like, nope, I'm feeling those emotions again, but I'm not going to make those mistakes again. So you're going to be just you surviving, by the way, is a huge win, right? If you just look back to all the OGs in the space, crypto is such a gift. All you need to know is all you need to figure out is how to survive. Because once you figure out how to survive, you get to be part of the massive boom that is coming. So all the OGs will pretty much tell you the same thing: survive. If you can survive, you'll make it.
Exactly, I totally agree.
Awesome.
All right, so Shervin, before we let you go, one piece of advice that you could give to, or you know what, to make your life easier, up to 3 pieces of advice, but you could keep it anywhere between 1 to 3. If you could give them succinct advice, what would it be?
To people who have not taken any formal education, I wouldn't give any other advice than to sit down and follow a formal set of education, because you'll get 90%, 50%, 60%, doesn't matter. You'll get a majority of the chunk of the info you need. You'll then know what you need to go out there and learn. Like, before the seed, you don't know what you don't know, right? And probably the seed course for me was was a point where I realized how much I don't know, and then managed to at least generate a list of stuff I don't know, and then over time just start to pick it up. Beforehand, I was completely lost and just zoomed in and couldn't see the world for what it was. You know what is it? What's the terminology? Can't see the jungle for the trees for the jungle. Yeah, that one.
Forest for the trees. Don't miss
Forest
the
for the trees.
forest for
There
the
you go.
trees.
Yeah, and
So
I felt like that was the case for me. Yeah.
what would you advise people who cannot afford formal education, right? Some people aren't in that position.
You either have money or you have time, in my opinion. And if you have time,
Well said. Well
I
said.
really believe that 85%. It's a really bad percentage. A majority of the chunk of what you need to know to be able to then commit to paying for education exists on this Mango YouTube channel. I know for a fact because I have binge watched quite a lot of it. I continue watching it because I learn every single day from what you guys are talking about and the way you're looking at it. So yeah, if you have the time, find the right channels that communicate with you and you resonate with them, and just stick to them. Don't channel hop or YouTube hop or strategy hop. But also learn risk management. I mean, like, I think a basic Google on how not to lose all of your money in a trade can help as well if you don't want to go for a formal kind of course. But what I would say is, yeah, spend the time, make sure you survive long enough to be able to justify why you need that extra knowledge.
By the way, guys, this is coming from someone who is watching every live stream and is also documenting it for you guys in the Discord, right? So Shervin is actually the guy who posts the Mango highlights from the streams with timestamps. Especially recently, he's been adding timestamps, and he's still finding education even beyond Seed on these public free live streams and videos that we're posting. And we also have a free educational playlist that you guys can take advantage of. So yeah, do take advantage of that. And it's coming from him. Even though he has Seed, he's still watching these live streams diligently.
Let me just pan on over to the screen to show them the thing that Shervin has done for everybody right here. Where is this?
While you bring that up,
Oops.
Krisha, if I may add here, the YouTube videos and the live streams without the Seed module are providing you with some fundamental education you need in this trading space that misses from other YouTube channels. The YouTube channel and the live streams with this Seed program, every single one of these live streams are a coaching session. They're not, in my opinion, a live stream where you get to have an irrelevant conversation. No, they are all related, because Sean goes back and literally references every point, and that reference keeps reiterating and brings back some of the most important parts of it. So I don't attend those live sessions the way I used to before the Seed. Before the Seed, they were there, I was learning nuggets, but also hoping for what you're talking about. But now I'm learning every video you post, Krisha. Every single video you post, I don't trade those altcoins. But before you post them, I look at the chart, like 30 seconds now. Like, it's not, I don't spend 5 hours to do, no, 30 seconds. I look at the chart and be like, if I wanted to take a trade, what do I do? Then I watch your videos.
That's
honestly,
awesome.
Wow.
It's been incredible for me, because
That's
I was
awesome.
like, oh, look how stupid I was. Why am I looking at it in this way? And then I'm starting to build what you're looking at and what your trading structure is. And then I can pick and choose which bits of it I want to carry on with. Sorry, you were going to talk about the highlights.
Guys, did you get what Shervin just mentioned was probably the biggest takeaway from many of you in listening at home today. What he just said. If you guys just do that, you guys will be shocked as to how much you learn about yourself, how much you guys figure out about your strengths and your weaknesses. You guys will be saying things like, "Wow, that Sean's such an idiot. He missed such an obvious level," or you might be saying, "Damn, how did I miss so and so level? Sean is seeing it. Why didn't I?" Right? So just like what Sean is doing is skyrocketing his journey. Like, awesome, Sean. Like, I'm so impressed.
And I'm sure, and hell, it's so funny that you mentioned that, Shervin. And this is what I mean, that we take for granted, right? Sometimes, and that we forget about these little things that we used to do before. Now, I used to do this when I started trading. I used to compare my charts to Sean's charts to see that, okay, you know, did I get this right? And I totally forgot about that aspect of things, and it's what really helps you, and also it gives you that confidence. This is a massive confidence builder, by the way, guys. Right? When you know, like, certain, you're able to sort of look at a chart before you look at someone's analysis and be like, yeah, I think this is what's happening here. Go and look at someone's analysis, someone you look up to. And when you see this confluence, or sometimes hell, you disagree with it and say price action in fact goes as per your TA as opposed to the person that you're looking at, that gives you extra confidence. But the fact that you're able to even do that is telling, very, very telling in the kind of education that you've built for yourself, the foundation that you already have. So these are things that you can do in order to give yourself that booster. So Shervin, really amazing. Thank you for highlighting that. I totally forgot about that. Something that, hey, you know what? I used to do that too. So that's cool. And hey, Shervin has done all of this for you guys here. This is under the Mango highlights, available to everyone on the Discord chat. Get on over to the Discord chat if you're not already there. You'll find the link in the description, and he has this entire Mango highlights section for you right there on your sidebar. So you guys can go ahead and he's basically pulled out all the golden nuggets for you guys. And dude, he is in the Mango Seed program, and he's still doing this. He's still watching this to better himself as well. So take a look at this. For those of you who are missing the streams and you're not able to catch the entire thing, he's literally pulled out the important parts for you. So thanks for this, Shervin. Like, this was amazing.
So I think this is a great segue for a little shameless plug. Guys, on the Discord, if you go #GiveMango @Shervin3.
Ooh, let's do
only
it.
joking.
I'm gonna do it right
Shervin,
now.
Shervin, the whole basket of mangoes for you, man, today. This is
Mox
awesome.
beat me. I can not do anything. I cannot beat the guy apart from beg for mangoes, please.
Is it?
Mock the bot can help you out with that. He'll
Wow, Kusha, Mock has overtaken you on the
I know,
mango.
right?
I'm not surprised. Mock has been there, man, for everyone.
How am I-
There.
How am I
Getting
rank 1? I don't even remember getting
You
these
have
mangoes.
unlimited mangoes.
We're talking about community. I would not have been here. I don't think if it wasn't for the community. Like the YouTube videos are great. They give us a sense of, well, there is still continuity. But if we didn't have Discord and Grove and the Seed, where we're all talking about it all, and we know these people are like, man, like I have learned so much from Mock, and by just showing my traits to him and then him saying, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? And then just that bias check that you have. So I would say community as part of the course. You're not just the course I'm talking about, is also having people around you that are looking at the same things. I think it's been what's led me have the confidence to continue on and survive this long, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hands down, I don't think I would have survived even if I was successful at trading if I didn't have you guys. Believe it or not, it's not enough to make money. I think we need each other to just feel like we're human beings. Because trading, we say, right, you got to remove all emotion, but then there's no taste to life, right? And you get the taste for life from having community around you to enjoy the wins, and also have a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, that shoulder is very.
I've cried
need-
to Mock too much. Actually, he can definitely attest to that, I'm sure.
That's all. And that's why we need each other. So for those of you who are not on the Discord, definitely come on out and join the Discord chats.
There's a way for people to like subscribe to the Mango highlights section, right? Shervin, that you said you could
Yes.
add notifications or something. Yeah, you guys could set specific notifications just for the Mango highlights, and I really recommend doing so. I've been using it too, by the way, guys, to go to extract snippets and post on YouTube. There'll be one coming up very, very soon. So if you guys want Shervin to keep doing that, make sure that you give him mangoes and keep his score above Mox. He's he's nowhere close. So you guys gotta step up your game.
I'll be giving you mangoes today, Shervin. Like this was absolutely amazing. I think a lot of people in the chat right now, you know, I think they've found a lot of value from what you've had to say. So this was awesome. Perhaps we can have Shervin back on, and also Shervin, by the way, guys, just a quick thing, he's managed to orange pill many of his close family members, and this is something that he feels strongly about, and perhaps we can flesh this out in another sort of live stream where you can sort of, you know, talk us through your entire journey with held Bitcoin. And I think that's had a profound effect and a profound finding for many of us in the community.
All right, let's talk about one last thing before we wrap up. I want to talk about the fact that Krisha posted a poll in regards to Bitcoin allocation in the community's portfolio, and it seems like 75% of the community has a Bitcoin allocation of around 0% to 25%. And it seems like a lot of people are at 0%. So, what are your thoughts on that, Shervin? And I want Kush. Dangerous, says Shervin. Kush, your thoughts?
I'm trying to
give me some TA to back it up as well.
Give me 1 second. Let me try and pull up the poll. Can I pull up the poll here? I think I can pull up the poll. Just to, yeah, man, 71%. That's insane. Let me see if I can, if you guys can see my poll. And yes, you can. Okay. So you guys see it right here. How much of your portfolio is in Bitcoin? Turns out, guys, less than 25%. So 71% of the people who voted said less than 25% of their portfolios is allocated into Bitcoin. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Sean, about this? Did we lose Sean? Sharon, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, apologies, I was muted. My thoughts are that I've failed the community in not teaching them the importance of Bitcoin. I've tried to lay down the hints, but only few people seem to have.
Don't blame yourself. That message is not lost. I learned Bitcoin. Like, I learned the importance of Bitcoin from Mango first. Then I went and read books and realized that it's like from the videos and YouTube streams. You've not let us down, Sean. Don't let them. If like Bitcoin, with sorry, I got a bit defensive there.
No.
I'm not.
I do feel like that sometimes, though, because sometimes I'll be honest with you guys. Sometimes I ask myself, man, am I not speaking my message clearly enough? Am I not? Do I not have enough conviction in what I'm trying to tell people about Bitcoin? But no, it's good to hear that. It's not lost.
25% Bitcoin, 70% USDT. Okay, DJ Blitz is, he says, I'm 25% Bitcoin, 75% USDT. I'm noticing that a lot of people, we have some comments, in fact. We got 36 comments on this post, and a lot of people said 0 Bitcoin. And I get that people are looking for that asymmetrical win, wherein everyone's looking to make that big sort of win, you know, that the one that can sort of rags to riches kind of win. But it goes down to missing the forest for the trees, Sean. I think that's what it sort of boils down to. So perhaps now I like there's so much to talk about in terms of Bitcoin, and Shervin, it'd be awesome if maybe we can get you some other time to tell us your journey into how you not found out about Bitcoin, but how you figured out that basically the importance of Bitcoin, of having Bitcoin, and how you managed to orange pull your family. I'm sure a lot of people are trying to orange pull their family and miserably failing. I took a good 3 to 4 years to do that. So maybe we can do this in another sort of live stream. Yeah, my parents now, they've become top and bottom indicators, guys. That's how crazy it was. So
definitely, I'd look forward to that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed this. I think we should get Shervin back on very, very soon, maybe as a regular guest. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe, especially if you guys want more of these kind of streams. And if you guys want Krisha to be leading the streams like she did, let her know how she did in the comments down below. Give her encouragement. She was a bit shy before doing this, but she seems fine.
There were technical difficulties, of course. Just like, no, last minute, never. But no, I hope you guys enjoyed this, definitely. Yeah, if you guys want me to lead, let me know, or else we can get Sean back in here with his bandana and his nice crazy curls.
Sounds amazing.
Right?
Sean, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
gonna
Like, and I
let
know you.
Krisha
Go on.
wrap up the stream while I
Awesome. Now,
take
guys,
Ace.
don't forget to hit the likes if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. You want to keep up with the latest manga juice. Well, what the hell are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe as well. That way, you know when we're out with the next either daily video or the live stream. Shervin, thanks, man. Thanks for joining. I know it was super early on your end, but hey, people finally put a voice to that name, Shervin. So that's awesome.
Catch you guys on the Grove.
Yes,
Yep.
sirree.
Mango
Ciao,
Wave
man.
/ Discord. See you guys.
All right, guys. Ciao.
Ciao.
Trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Massive hearts to you guys. Big love. Thank you very much, guys. And end stream.